A guy in black sneakers was coming up the stairs. Suddenly, he dropped his keys and complained out loud about it, but then added that he didn't use them anymore anyway, so he continued up the stairs with the can of drink. He opened the door and stepped out onto the roof of a multi-story building. It was night outside. His last name was Cao, and his full name was Cao Xiaomeng. This year he will be 26, he is not married. You're probably wondering what's wrong with this guy who didn't even pick up the keys to his house. Everything is simple. He will never go back there again. 3 years ago, he came here with his former classmate to start a business. Leaning his elbows on the railing and looking down at the city lights, he continued to drink his drink. Together with a classmate, they paid off their debts, coped with everything together. The guy could not imagine that a year after opening a business that began to go quite successfully, his friend would throw him out of the company and take away all the assets. Looking at the lights of the city, he said, at this time of day, don't all the families stay at home and have dinner together? After all that had happened, he had initially considered going back. But after he lost everything, there's no way he could get out of the hole he's in. He was confused, but mostly he suffered. During this month of staying at home, he cut off all communication with the outside world. A sense of loneliness and hopelessness gradually took hold of him, and then his mind was consumed by excruciating pain. But what does that have to do with him now? He climbed up on the roof railing and climbed over to the other side. Now he can't stop suffering. All he has to do is die. There are no other options. The guy jumped off the roof. Finally, it can be released. The guy flew, and finally landed down. There was a whole mountain of garbage bags at the bottom. A sound was heard. Is that the sound of rain? The guy got up and held his head and then was surprised that he wasn't dead. He came out after falling from such a height. Is he such a loser that he can't even die? Suddenly he noticed that his hand was covered in blood. But he's not even hurt, is he? Then whose blood is it? He got down from the garbage bags and looked at them. A corpse that was growling angrily fell out to him. Seeing this, the guy got scared and ran in the opposite direction. He also reasoned out loud, zombies. Was it a zombie? How is this possible? Is this the afterlife? Raindrops, heartbeat, headache, breathing, all this the main character still felt. He was still alive. After running through the alley, the main characters went to the main street, but saw a whole bunch of real zombies in front of them. Wherever he goes, there are zombies everywhere. He had only been home for a month, but something had happened to the world in that time. A guy was running away from a crowd of zombies and shouting, "Help! Save me!" The guy did not have time to escape and was killed by a crowd of zombies. The main character was shocked and surprised that they actually eat people. Saying that this was no time to be surprised, he turned and ran, otherwise he would be the next one they ate. In the midst of a crowd of zombies, he saw a girl. She was standing a little apart from all the other zombies. The main character drew attention to this and thought, why is it different from all the others? The girl screamed and rushed forward towards the main character. How could she have seen him from this distance? He jumped out of the way, and the girl accidentally ran on. Normal zombies are immediate, but this one has some kind of abnormal speed, and the main character doesn't have anything useful with him at all. The main characters ran into some room and leaned on the door, but suddenly someone knocked very hard and he thought that he was discovered. This door won't hold them back. He ran on. But why is he so afraid of dying? Didn't he just try to jump down from the roof? Why did he start fleeing the moment he saw them? Cao Xiaomeng ran up the stairs. Obviously, if he allowed them to catch up to him, he could die. But his body doesn't listen to him. He wants to run away. Was it because he was scared? Meanwhile, the girl who had jumped on him earlier kicked down the door and went inside. After all, falling from the roof of a building is different from being slowly eaten by zombies. But perhaps there is another reason. What he dreams of is not death. Suddenly, he remembers the past. Remembers how he turns to his friend who left him. He thought they were best friends, so why did he do this to him? His friend's words were as follows: "You can't even understand simple logic. No wonder you fell into such a state. A useless person should be thrown out just like garbage." Cao Xiaomeng was standing at the consultation counter, and the girl behind the glass told him that she couldn't help with the application for using a credit rating to pay for goods. He begged her to help her at least once, but the girl ignored him and called security. He just wanted to get rid of this deep pit in his path. But when he saw how the world had changed, he wanted to survive more than ever. Pushing away one of the attacking zombies, he ran higher up. He ran and shouted to everyone to disperse. He definitely won't die here. Even though she wanted to commit suicide, but now he has changed his mind about it. If death can't put him out of his misery, then he won't die. Behind him was a girl who runs very fast. Her eyes lit up and she jumped straight at him. The main characters clearly decided for themselves that they want to kick their traitor, so first of all he must survive. The system is being activated. The girl strikes, but misses the wall. What's going on anyway? Dialog boxes with the interface appear and say, "Host, Cao Xiaomeng, you have activated the. You have received a new task. Description: hire your first employee and deal with the threat to your life. Starting the search for available employees for hiring. The search is complete. Available employee, Guzioyu. The main characters were surprised and said, "What other post-apocalyptic delivery company? And who is this employee? Is that the one in front of me?" The dialogue box asked if he wanted to hire this employee. There was a choice to accept or reject the job. Meanwhile, the zombies were getting closer. What other choice does he have in this situation? He held up his hand and pressed the accept button. Suddenly the girl clutched at herself. The employee was successfully hired. All of a sudden, it took on color and pupils appeared in her eyes. The main character did not understand what was going on around, but gave her first task. Get rid of zombies nearby. She leapt towards the first zombie and kicked it from above with all her strength. Then one more and two more kicks. Then she kicked off with her feet and jumped into the other zombies who were higher up the stairs. She's so strong. In this post-apocalyptic world, she is simply the best employee. The main characters exhaled. Somehow he managed to survive. The task is completed. We are awarding a reward. Quest rewards received: a regular backpack, 100 experience points, and a lottery ticket. The main characters got excited and grabbed the rewards. Does he even have a chance to win something in the lottery? He was very lucky because the backpack contained water and food, as well as cool clothes that he would change into later. In addition, he found a weapon, a small knife, and a scabbard. The main character rubbed his chin and thought about what kind of system it is and what it wants from him. In the end, he came to the conclusion that he doesn't care since the post-apocalyptic days have come, but it's not surprising that this system has appeared. He decided to use the lottery. The lottery is activated. A huge interface window appears. Welcome to the lottery system. In this system, you will receive random prizes. The lights came on. Congratulations, you have purchased the item. The item was titled Employee Guzioyu's Memory Fragment. The main character was surprised that it was a fragment of memories. He did not understand why it was needed. The sample of memories was modeled after objects and in games. The main character wanted to use it but didn't know how, so he just poked it and suddenly the light spilled out in all directions. So what's going on? Suddenly, he began to see memories, a certain office called Shangxi Real Estate. Images of people pass through his body. He sees a girl sitting at a table and her boss approaches her. This girl was Guzioyu. These were her memories, so it wasn't surprising that the people in these memories didn't see the main character and pass through him. The boss told the girl that for an employee who is here only recently, her results meet the established requirements. But because of the situation in their company, because of the crisis, they have problems with funding. This did not bother the girl at all. She came to the city alone from the village and was just grateful for the fact that she was hired, even though her qualifications were not high. She said that even if her salary is cut in half, she will not be indignant. The man put his hand to his face, even feeling a little sorry that he was her boss. He suggested the following to her: she will take the second half of her salary that the company owes her, and when the situation improves, he will reimburse her for everything. She agreed and smiled. The boss smiled and told her to keep working harder. The girl was holding a barrette in her hand. She really liked how it looked on her. It was a barrette bought with her first salary. After running away from her family, she has endured so many hardships, so she needs to work harder to survive. The girl was inspired. One day she will have her own home and family, so do not be discouraged. Watching these memories, the protagonist thought with satisfaction that she was an optimist. That was the end of the memory fragment. A system message appeared that an additional task was received. Task description: go to Shangxi Real Estate, find her hairpin, and pay her back the rest of her salary. The reward was plus 20 loyalty points for the employee. A loyal employee is probably an indicator of how the main character is treated by his employees. Looking at how she had just saved his life, he was bound to complete this task. He decided that from now on, all the zombies would be dealt with by her, and she nodded in response. Soon after, they changed their clothes and arrived at the task location. The girl successfully dealt with all the zombies. The main characters were surprised at how incredible her combat power is. He was glad that she was on his side. While she destroys the remains of zombies, the main characters come to her workplace in search of a hairpin. It should be somewhere near her workplace. He found a hairpin, but was terrified that a zombie flew over him, which was thrown away by Guzioyu. Xiaomeng shouted, "What is that? Is she trying to kill me?" He looked at her again and came to the conclusion that she had just decided to start a massacre and was completely oblivious to everything around her. Suddenly she noticed the hairpin in his hand. A system message appeared: the employee's loyalty level is too low. This may cause the employee to be unable to distinguish between friends and enemies. The girl's eyes lit up. The main character finally understood how the loyalty level works. He ran away from the girl and ran into the room, then closed it and filled it with furniture so that no one would follow him any further. This is the second time we've played catch up. There were heavy knocks outside the door. He needed to complete the tasks quickly because this door wouldn't hold for long. The main character turned around. The hairpin was already in his possession, but he had no idea where to look for her salary. Suddenly, he saw her former zombie boss standing in front of him, counting the money on the table. The main character said, "Isn't that fat guy Guzai-Oyu's boss that I saw in her memory? He scared me. He sits there and doesn't even move." As he had suspected, the company's crisis was just a simple hoax. The image of her boss was exactly the same as the image of the main character's friend who stole everything from him. After this boss turned into a zombie, the only thing he could do was still count the money. The knocking on the door was getting stronger, and the main character remembered why he was here. He went to the table and only wanted to take the $200 that the boss had promised Guzai-Oyu. There was a lot of money on the table, but he decided not to take any more. Suddenly, the boss grabbed his arm. Is he just so unwilling to give up the money? Xiaomeng took out his small sword and chopped off the zombie's arm. This sword is quite sharp. With the next blow, he was about to send the zombie to its grave for good. Suddenly, his sword was knocked out of his hands and the sword flew to the side. The zombie knocked him to the ground and was about to bite him. Xiaomeng was in a panic. He was about to be eaten. He urgently needs to find a way to distract this zombie. His eyes fell on the money. He grabbed it and threw it up with the words, "Hey fat man, look, money." The zombie immediately turned its attention to the money and ran after it. It worked. All companies built by such people can do is turn their employees into useless people. Xiaomeng grabbed the sword and ran towards the zombie. He raised the sword high above his head and cut the zombie into 2 pieces. Then he said, "The company I dream of creating will not be helped by anything from its own employees. I want to treat them like my family." He sheathed his sword. Xiaomeng and Guzai-Oyu were standing on the roof of a high-rise building. He told her, "I'm sorry, the ribbon on the hairpin was a little frayed. I patched it up as best I could, so don't be mad if it doesn't look as pretty as it used to, okay?" He put a clip in her hair, and for a second, he even thought she was smiling. Thus, it was the beginning of the creation of his post-apocalyptic company. Xiaomeng and Guzai-Oyu were walking through the streets of the city. He told the girl not to worry, because he will definitely find a way to get all the fragments of her memories. But he doesn't know what will happen when they collect them all. Then the main character tells himself that his name is Kyo Xiaomeng and he is a 26-year-old failed businessman. At first, he wanted to end it all, but he was faced with a zombie apocalypse. Also, he received the entrepreneurial system. Thanks to this, he changed his plans for life and decided to survive in this world at all costs. Since then, 5 days have passed, and he is constantly studying the capabilities of this system. At the moment, he has the following abilities: recruitment, with which he can hire new employees, and tasks, completing which he receives various rewards. If he used these 2 abilities correctly, he would be able to quickly assemble his dream team. Meanwhile, Xiaomeng and Guzai-Oyu deal with the zombies. Xiaomeng wiped the sweat off his face and said that it had been a long time since he felt so refreshed, as if he had realized himself anew. Next, it called up the system window and asked if there were any new tasks. Task: collect resources. Description: if you want to survive in this post-apocalyptic world, then you should have no shortage of supplies. Requirements: collect 50 units of food and 50 units of water. Note: the backpack is made specifically for skylading. Its volume will cover to accommodate all the resources. Rewards: 100 points in 1 lottery game. Stock up on resources. That sounds cool. The protagonist called out to Xiaoyu, who was standing motionless beside the zombie's corpse. He thought that something was wrong with her and she was not feeling well, but she turned and ran to him as if nothing had happened. For some reason, he still feels that Xiaoyu is acting strange today. I didn't put too much emphasis on it. For today, their plan is to collect a post-apocalyptic manual and go shopping without money. The supermarket was crowded with zombies. Carefully dealing with them, they went and examined the shelves of the store. Food supplies, well, I never thought supermarkets could be so dark. Even the flashlight in his hands didn't protect him from the darkness. He was grateful to Xiaoyu for dealing with the zombies around him while he could safely find what they needed. The main character noticed that her combat power had decreased. This is nothing like the mind-boggling carnage that took place just a couple of days ago. Xiaoyu hit the zombie and sent it flying into the wall, sending canned food flying. The protagonist's eyes lit up. This guy helped us find canned food. All thanks to Xiaoyu's fatal blow to that guy. He looked at the girl and for some reason there were tears in her eyes. Why is she crying? What happened? He ran to her. The zombie she hit hadn't died yet. The zombie grabbed her leg. It turns out that none of the zombies they fought in the supermarket are dead. He grabbed her arm and they ran. The main character asked the system what happened to Xiaoyu and why she looked like she was suffering so much. Employee Guzai-Oyu went into a state of starvation, so the efficiency of her work and her body plummeted. State of hunger. It turns out that zombies are also starving. But then the question arises what to feed her, not a person. The system explained that you can exchange earned points for food for employees, which will allow them to replenish the energy spent. Xiao Meng made the exchange immediately. System notification, I am making an exchange. The exchange of employee safety points has been made. Preparing food for the employees. The food will be ready in 30 minutes. This is a very long time. They were surrounded on both sides by zombies. But why are there so many zombies here? There are too many of them. The main character is not going to die here. Suddenly, he notices a girl waving from the door, calling him to run to her. Waving his sword, Xiao Meng ran towards the unknown girl. He hacked at anyone who got in his way. They ran out the door and the door slammed shut. Xiao Meng thanked the girl. If it wasn't for them, he would have been in serious trouble. The girl pointed the knife at him. Don't be so quick to thank us. The food that you just collected in the hall, giving it to us. Several people appeared around Xiao Meng and threatened him with knives. The girl said, no one wants to hurt you, just need your food. So let's not be silly. The main character felt that the forces were unequal, and for Gu Xiaoyu's sake, he needed to deal with this as soon as possible. The people surrounding him saw that he had a lot of supplies. The main character did not conflict and gave them everything. Here, come on, it's canned bean soup. Enjoy your meal. Enough. People began to eat. The girl thanked him and said that in the warehouse where they are now all the supplies have long run out, and they were forced to starve and slightly crazy from hunger. She asked me to forgive them. In fact, they are not like that at all. Zombies have changed them all. Xiao Meng thought that it might be just the opposite. Maybe it's just now that everyone has become the most real. These people were starving to death with her, had the guts to go out for supplies. Were they that scared? Suddenly, a man with a big potbelly approached Xiao Meng and ordered him to bring more next time, to which the main character replied, why should I do this? The woman behind the fat man got angry. Did she say they needed more than he did, or did he want them dead? Xiao Meng got to his feet and picked up his sword. He said, listen, what a horde, you are afraid to go out against the zombies, and they broke out on me like a chain. Too bold, isn't it? A man with glasses tried to tie the main character from behind. People are distraught from the lack of food. The girl tried to reason with her accomplices. I just brought supplies. Can you behave like this? The fat man turned to her and asked her if she understood what kind of world they were in now. In this world, either you kill or they kill you. So listen to what they tell you. Xiao Meng gave them exactly all the supplies this time. People jumped on the food. Rather, there is him. We need to search him more closely. He's hiding something. It's not him. Meanwhile, Gu Xiaoyu stood and watched, her stomach rumbling. I heard a sound in my hands from the ventilation system, and from there I reached out to look for my fingers. The main character was indignant. You tied him up very much. He fluttered and asked to loosen up at least a little, because it already hurts. At the same time, he thought that the knife was still in his pocket. This knife could help the situation in some way. Suddenly, an idea popped into his head. He shouted that he had lunch hidden in his pants. Everyone around us noticed this. Why earlier? People started arguing about who would take this lunch for themselves. Everyone expressed their position. Ladies go ahead, and I'm just a woman. And I am the oldest, you must respect. You're already fat, and I'm still worth a poor rest to you. Although it's better for me. The beefcake fell to the floor. The main characters kicked it with all their strength forward and shouted that whoever first catches it will be Portia. People rushed to get canned food. The bespectacled man was running in front of everyone. Is that a bunch of pigs trying to compete with me? Try to catch up, losers. The bespectacled machine grabbed at the canned food, and we weren't the least bit ashamed of it. Meanwhile, the fat guys were already catching up with him. They turned around the corner, but the man with glasses was already gone. Where he was standing was just a canned food. The woman reached for the canned food. The young girl was the last to run, trying to talk some sense into everyone so that they wouldn't behave like brutes. Suddenly she noticed that her accomplices were already running back, frightened. The woman with the canned food was suddenly seized by tentacles. Xiao Meng, meanwhile, was trying to untie himself, tightly bound. He sees people already running back. Why did they come back so quickly? So it shouldn't be that there's something wrong here. A young girl ran up behind him and untied the rope. She said we should get out of here as soon as possible. Gu Xiaoyu sniffed the air. As soon as Xiao Meng was untied, he grabbed the young girl and they jumped out of the way together. A huge mouth and many eyes could be seen in the distance. The monster appeared. What kind of monster is this? Or is it just another zombie mutation? One of the guys tried to run away from the monster and was immediately devoured. Meanwhile, the fat man ran to the door that they had previously locked. He wasn't ready to die. He was trying to figure out how to get out of here as soon as possible. Xiao Meng shouted, just don't open the door. As soon as the fat man opened the door, zombies immediately rushed into the room. Holy, what a bunch. Xiao Meng fiercely fought off the zombies that appeared. The octopus monster will have to be postponed until later. It feels like I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. System notification, warning. Threat detected. Warning. Danger. The girl who untied Xiao Meng hid behind Gu Xiaoyu. The main character drew attention to this, but could not come to their aid because he was fighting off zombies. Does it really have to end here? System notification. High risk when completing a task. I activate collaboration mode specifically for the host. Employee Gu Xiaoyu, collaboration mode is active. Suddenly, stitches appeared on Xiao Meng's body as if he was a zombie himself. What is that? Teamwork. Now we will explain everything to you. The main character thought that he would do without explanations, because he himself understood what had just happened. He was overflowing with energy and cut down several zombies with the ball at once. His abilities became as strong as his employees. To be more precise, this can be considered synchronization. A fat man who had turned into a zombie was attacking from behind, but Gu Xiaoyu kicked him while she was chewing on a bun. Gu Xiaoyu is back. Xiao Meng walked up to her and said, "I'm so glad you're back. When you're around, you feel calmer." The two of them were looking at the octopus monster. How do they deal with it? Go ahead, Gu Xiaoyu. Kick the things of that half-baked octopus. They jumped on its tentacles and ran. Xiao Meng then gave the monster several lethal slashes with his sword, while Gu Xiaoyu repeatedly punched through the monster with her fists. A young woman was watching all this and she thought that they were really strong, and it was good that they were on the same side. A small boy was sitting next to her. Then, when all was quiet, they were all standing together on the roof of a high-rise building. Xiao Meng has completed the task, now it's time to celebrate. He was about to leave, but the young girl asked him to stay for a moment. She explained that she and baby Zhang did not have a single chance to survive alone. Xiao Meng was like Superman to them, the coolest person in the world. The girl asked to take them with her, but the main character refused. He left them a package that contained water and ammunition, which should be enough for the first time. Then he explained that he could only thank them out of gratitude, because they did not leave him then. He also added that we will never be on the road with those who pointed a knife at him. He said his goodbyes and they left with Gu Xiaoyu. Suddenly, he remembered that he had an unused lottery ticket. He activated the lottery system. The lottery system is activated. What will I get this time? He saw a bright glow and was shocked. All because he just got a glass of soy milk and a loaf of bread. It's impossible to get enough of it. Even though he hadn't eaten anything for quite some time, it felt like the lottery ticket was wasted. He noticed that Gu Xiaoyu's eyes were sparkling and her saliva was flowing. He decided to give the prize to her. Her face lit up with joy. System message. When you give employee Gu Xiaoyu her favorite food buns and soy milk, your favorability increases by 10%. Message system. Employee Gu Xiaoyu's mental clarity has improved, and her mental clarity is currently 30%. The first skill slot is now open. Xiao Meng's face lit up. A skill slot. It turns out that when you increase your loyalty, new opportunities open up. This is too cheaty. He told the girl that if she wanted to eat something in the future, then let her not hesitate and say right away, he would do everything possible to find it. Message system. Please choose one of the 3 skill development branches. A dialogue box appeared in front of Xiao Meng. His eyes darted from the choice. He really wanted to try everything at all. The display showed the following skills: Fierce God of War, the Immortal God of War of Thunder Rage. The system can provide this feature, but each skill can only be tested once. After completing the tests, please make your own selections. This is excellent. Let's go, Xiaoyu. Let's test our skills. They came to some seaport. Xiao Meng found this place when he was completing a mission 2 days ago. The number of dead people here is suitable, and the space is also sufficient. Let's test our skills. We won't get this opportunity again. Xiao Meng sat down on the container and said that the inspection was starting. System. First skill. God of War of Thunder Rage. Gu Xiaoyu ran with all her might and lightning bolts appeared around her fist. She struck out and all the zombies scattered in the distance. Wow, it's only one hit. Furious God of War ability description. Attack power reduced by 80%. Ability control reduced by 80%. An area attack is performed. There is a low probability of paralysis. Effective attack range, awesome. Alright, now let's try the next skill. Immortal God of War. Gu Xiaoyu made a sound and all the zombies around her abruptly turned their attention to her. The ability to provoke. Gu Xiaoyu hit the zombie and it flew away. The main character also noticed that her wounds were healing. Healing wounds and injuries. I wonder if the skill can raise the dead. All these skills are super. The Immortal God of War. Total attack power reduced by 70%. After taking damage, injuries are restored. The amount of food consumed is reduced. Now let's try the third skill. The Cruel God of War. There was a strange pressure in the air. Sensing this, the main character decided to hide. I'm not crazy enough to die so easily. Gu Xiaoyu swooped down with great force and slashed several zombies with her hands. The Cruel God of War. After switching to Berserk mode, increases by 200%. When the mode ends, a weakness appears. The duration of the weakness is directly proportional to the time of using Berserk mode. That's the power. Gu Xiaoyu dealt with the zombies mercilessly. Suddenly, a girl with long white hair and horns appeared out of nowhere. Who is it? With long horns, is it a mutant zombie? Gu Xiaoyu jumped at her and kicked out, but it was blocked. The brutal god of war's attack was blocked. The girls continue to fight. She's completely different from all the zombies I've met before. Berserk mode will end soon. If we don't finish it now, we'll be in trouble. Start sinking mode. Gu Xiaoyu, let's run. They run down the alley between the containers, but the girl with the horns is not far behind. Suddenly, someone runs around the corner. The main character was already swinging his sword at him, but he shouted, "Don't kill him. Is this a living person?" Xiaomeng pulled his bag behind him. "Who are you? Don't touch me. Calm down a bit. Don't panic." Suddenly, a man who had just appeared noticed that a girl with horns was running from behind. "It's a mutant zombie." Xiaomeng said, "Are you telling me to calm down?" "Well, don't run if you're so smart." The guy ran from behind and shouted that it was over and they were all going to die here. Xiaomeng told him not to be afraid. Even a mutant zombie is just a zombie. They will definitely make it. They ran around the corner, but there was a dead end of garbage. Gu Xiaoyu, who was running behind them, turned around and took the girl with the horns on top of her. Xiaomeng was at a dead end and knew that Gu Xiaoyu would not be able to win, and he needed to quickly think of a way to apprehend this horned zombie. Suddenly he sniffed the air and smelled gasoline. Xiaomeng asked the chubby man for a backpack, and the latter was not very willing to give it up, but Xiaomeng told him that if he wanted to live, then he should give it up. Xiaomeng ordered Gu Xiaoyu to go back and threw the backpack up. Zombie with horns chopped it up and gasoline poured on her, after which Xiaomeng threw a lighter and everything burst into flames. They ran on. They barely escaped from death. It was really exciting. "All thanks to the fuel in your backpack." Xiaomeng thanked Chubby, but the man clutched his head. "We ran away, but why should I do all this?" A dialogue box appeared in front of Xiaomeng. Mission update. Complete 100 tasks. The reward for each mission is determined depending on the difficulty. The chubby man continued to hold his head, and he said, "What am I going to do? Sister Meng will surely feed me to the zombies." Xiaomeng's eyes lit up as he ran over to the fat man and asked if he wanted to hire him. Two people were observing the situation on the street with binoculars. They discussed that there were more zombies every day. Xiaomeng mercilessly hacked at the zombies in his path. Then, Xiaomeng, Gu Xiaoyu, and the chubby man ran into the building with cheers. Task completed. Task difficulty: D. The client is Daju. The defense target has arrived at its destination. The reward is credited. Total points plus 20. Main mission statement: completed 1 out of 100 tasks. Xiaomeng rubbed his chin in thought and said, "I only got experience." In other words, only for completing the main mission can you get a special reward. You can choose a one-time reward for every 100 experience points. It seems that experience points are quite useful. The local people inside the building pointed their weapons at the fat man and Xiaomeng. One of them asked, "Who are you?" To which the fat man replied, "Please don't attack, it's me, Daju." "Who are these two people with you?" Daju explained that there was an accident on the way and there was no more fuel, but Xiaomeng and Gu Xiaoyu saved him, so he brought them to the leader. The man with the axe called him a loser and said that the boss was on the top floor, and he also ordered Lao Lai to come up with them. Xiaomeng's team was walking behind the man leading them. Xiaomeng said, "Who would have thought that such a clean place could be found after a disaster?" The man leading them explained that they took the place of a hospital that has not yet been put into operation, so everything here is quite well equipped. Xiaomeng thought that after the catastrophe, humanity would be thrown into chaos, but everything seems to be more or less in order here. The guy leading the way explained that it was all because they had a tough leader. He can organize everyone to the highest level, and everyone has their own job. Everyone is busy with something. They were climbing up the forest ladder, closer to the very top. Someone said that the entrance to the top is forbidden because there are exercises taking place. The man who led them said that Daju had returned, and he also brought 2 newbies. On the roof of the building stood a woman with long hair tied in a ponytail, wearing a baton wrapped in barbed wire. She coached other guys. "Hey, losers, come on out. Hurry up and kill the zombies." The zombies were tied to barrels. "But this is the first time we're really fighting." The girl shouted back, "Zombies won't give you a second chance. Remember, what are the features of zombies?" One of the guys said that first of all, zombies are afraid of light. Sunlight or a strong light beam slows them down. Another guy added that zombies are also sensitive to sounds. The girl waved her baton and added that third, they just need to destroy them. Meanwhile, Xiaomeng's team and their escort went to the roof. The girl asked if they had brought fuel. Daju lowered his eyes and said that he didn't bring it. The girl was angry. "How dare you come back? No fuel, so the lights won't work, so the recruits won't be able to train at night. You promised 3 times. I also gave you a chance 3 times, so what's the end result? You're an untrustworthy scum. From this evening onwards, don't you dare show up at the camp." Daju held his head. The girl waved her baton at Xiao Meng and Gu Xiaoyu and said, "You two. Our camp doesn't need newcomers arriving with trash. You get out too." Xiao Meng sighed. "So, first of all, calm down and don't rush people. We came with a business proposal." The girl laughed and answered, "We have a home here. Food, water, medicine, warriors, medical equipment. And there are only 2 of you. Yet, you came and talked to me about business. Don't make me laugh." Suddenly, the zombies unhooked themselves from the barrels they were tied to and ran towards the guys who were training on them. "The zombies have broken free." The sun set, and they became stronger. "Boss, help." Before their boss could react, Xiao Meng snapped his fingers and Gu Xiaoyu jumped towards the zombies. "Hey, what was she doing?" Xiao Meng explained that if they needed fuel, he could get it. But not just fuel, but a lot of other things. The price is just to let Daju, Xiao Meng, and Gu Xiaoyu stay in the camp. A deal. Trust me, in this world of the end of the world, where you can't trust your subordinates and friends, because you can die for various reasons at their hands. But business people don't do that. As long as it is profitable, I will be your most reliable ally. Gu Xiaoyu tore apart a few zombies in the air. After a while, Xiao Meng and Gu Xiaoyu are walking down the street in the company of a small boy. "Do you hear me, uncle? No one forced you to take this job. And since you've already accepted it, don't complain." System notification. Client, Wang Rui. The task is confirmed. Go to your destination. Difficulty level E. Not long before, the camp boss had shown them this boy. "This is your client. This guy has been with us since the beginning of the disaster." Xiao Meng rubbed his chin. "Child customer, then what should I do?" The boss replied that they needed to go to the playground of the YIDA department store. "Alas, in order to be able to do business in the base, I can only accompany you in peace." Suddenly, a zombie came running at them from behind. Xiao Meng took out his sword and shouted, "Kid, come here." Meanwhile, the guy took out a hammer and knocked out a zombie running at them. "Uncle, my name isn't Kid, my name is Wang Rui. I don't go to the mall for fun, I want to find my father." Xiao Meng thought that the guy had trained well at the base. "But if it's in the department store itself, I'm afraid the chances of survival are slim." The guy replied that of course he knows about it. He said, "I'm going there to make sure he hasn't turned into a zombie. But if he's turned, I'll kill him right away." The system window appeared. Order content, help the customer eliminate the goal. Changing the mission. Change the difficulty level to be. Wang Rui recalls moments from the past when a man in a bear costume shows him magic tricks. It was his father. "Father, why do you like to entertain people so much?" The father replied, "Son, look at the passers-by, each of them has lonely, sad and painful days. But if a person who is depressed just sees my performance, then their spirits will rise, won't they?" Little Wang Rui thought that his father was deceiving him. This is all really true, because a smile is real magic. Wang Rui looked up at the ruined shopping center building. Dad, if he became a zombie, probably won't be able to forgive himself for turning into a cannibal monster. The 3 of them all went inside. Xiao Meng asked him, "So that's why you needed to get here so badly? Rather strange. Why did everyone go to the 3rd floor and there was only 1 zombie? Let's hope we weren't ambushed." Suddenly, they saw an anomaly in front of them, a huge lump consisting of several zombies. This pile was controlled by a zombie fat man. Suddenly, another crowd of zombies ran out from the side. It was an ambush after all. Xiao Meng ordered Gu Xiaoyu and she jumped into the fight. No wonder no one from the camp came here to go. Xiao Meng drew his sword. Gu Xiaoyu jumped into the crowd of zombies and ran up to the abnormal zombie. She hit him, then the abnormal zombie got angry and threw something back. Pieces of the mall's construction fell down. Xiao Meng saw all this and shouted to Wang Rui to quickly find a safe place to hide. "Don't just stand there. Faster." Wang Rui couldn't move because his eyes were caught by a zombie walking in a bear costume. It was his father. Wang Rui remembered his father's kind figure, but now it was terrible and blood was running down his suit. Xiao Meng ran up to the guy and said that he would first take him away and hide him. But the guy refused to leave. He told Xiao Meng to help Gu Xiaoyu first and he would have to deal with his father first. Xiao Meng wanted to protest, but Wang Rui replied, "Trust me, and don't forget the essence of my order." "Okay, then I'll leave it to you." Xiao Meng climbed up the collapsed structures. I never thought he was such an amazing kid. Gu Xiaoyu, meanwhile, was fighting a crowd of zombies. She was clearly starting to lose, and the zombies were almost swallowing her up. Suddenly, Xiao Meng ran over and told her to punch up. It hit up and all the zombies flew in different directions. "If the boss isn't around, then you can't fight anymore. Gu Xiaoyu, go stop the fat man. In the meantime, I'll take care of some small things." Xiao Meng used the ability. Cruel God of War, activate. Sync mode, activate. A red aura appeared around Gu Xiaoyu. Meanwhile, Wang Rui stood outside the wall and pondered, "Only calm. Stay calm. In the camp, I worked my heart out day after day, and all for this moment. If Papa is still alive, I must bring him back. If Dad has turned into a zombie, you must kill him. Dad is the kind of person who wouldn't forgive himself for becoming a human-eating zombie. Wang Rui peeked out from behind the wall. His father was standing there. He ran towards it with all his strength, but suddenly another zombie grabbed his leg and Wang Rui fell down. Where did you come from? Wang Rui hammered at the interfering zombie, but his father noticed him. Meanwhile, Xiao Meng and Gu Xiaoyu continued to fight against the abnormal zombie. And why do we always encounter some mutated zombie? But Gu Xiaoyu isn't going to go berserk like he did when he met that blonde mutant, so this auto zombie should be perfectly killable. The zombie approached Xiao Meng. Are you going to attack me? Come on. The zombie car howled and an explosion came out of it. Xiao Meng barely dodged it. What's it? A jet zombie? Oh, anyway. The zombie howled once more and charged at the main character with all its high speed. But then it dawned on Xiao Meng, now he knows how to defeat this zombie. Xiao Meng jumped to the side and dodged the zombies. You are undoubtedly very strong. But without a driver, the car is useless, right? He ordered. Gu Xiaoyu, aim for his head. Put all your strength into one punch. Gu Xiaoyu leapt and smashed the zombie's head, causing the rest of the zombie car to catch fire and explode like fireworks. Xiao Meng was formed. Wow, I wonder how that kid's doing there. The kid, meanwhile, couldn't get away from Zombie, who was grabbing him. He was angry and beating with a swamp, and there were tears in his eyes. The flashlight lay to one side. Meanwhile, his father in a suit had already walked up to him. Don't come near me, Dad. The boy screamed and suddenly the zombie stopped. They looked at each other and the zombie smiled. The boy remembered that in the past, he and his father had already discussed the idea of the apocalypse. Father, if there was an apocalypse like in the movies, what would we do? They stood at the railing and enjoyed the view. Let me think about it. The apocalypse, you say? Well, everyone's life would definitely be cruel. If that happens, people will miss hope and optimism the most, so. Tears welled up in the boy's eyes, and he swung the hammer with a cry, still unable to get his father's smiling face out of his head. The blow was delivered. Time passes and the three of them were already returning back to the base. Xiao Meng was carrying a backpack on the front and he was holding Gu Xiaoyu who was resting on the back. A boy was walking behind them, smiling. Your father's answer was really cool. A sure thing. I think so too. They talked on the way home. Brother Xiao Meng, can I become as strong as you in the future? I want to protect everyone. I want to become a warrior who will bring smiles back to people's faces. I think not, hehe. Why? I will work hard and train hard. Xiao Meng said that thanks to his father, he would become even stronger than him. The boy nodded. The system window appeared. Mission accomplished. Points plus 40. After a while, Xiao Meng was already sitting playing cards at the base. He was laughing merrily with the guys. 2 jokers. I won. A few days after helping the boy fulfill his wish, he began taking orders from the camp. And thanks to this, I slowly began to get to know the local inhabitants better. Since the system gave him experience points for completing tasks, he didn't think too much about the rewards. However, when that kid gave him his favorite toy, Xiao Meng first thought, why does he need it? What a stupid child. System notification, Wang Rui's favorite toy added to the museum. Experience points plus 20. Xiao Meng then realized that if the customer gave him something very important to pay for, then this item could be turned into experience points. And add the item to the collection. Xiao Meng has beaten his opponent at cards and is now asking for a prize. Come on, Li, admit defeat and get rid of the cigarettes you have with you. What if I offer you something else in return? Nope. Well, then I'll get high for the last time. Stop. This is a scam. The guy who was trying to light a cigarette suddenly started coughing. Xiao Meng laughed and said, lie. You don't even know how to smoke. Another guy added, sure thing. Li, why do you want to look cool? The guy with glasses on the right added that Li carries cigarettes not because he smokes, but because he misses his wife. Li said that he liked the way his wife smoked and the smell of cigarettes that came from her. Every time he remembers it, he lights a cigarette. Do we have a real romantic and loving husband? You talk too much. By the way, Da Shan, you're already in your 30s. Why did you ask Xiao Meng to bring you a rag doll? Huh? Da Shan was embarrassed and replied, my daughter loves them. I asked for it for her. Xiao Meng asked, bro, do you have a daughter? Why haven't I seen her yet? Da Shan rubbed his chin and said, my wife and daughter are still out there somewhere. I talked to them during the first days of chaos while the connection was still working. They are strong, they cannot be frightened by some kind of apocalypse. By the way, Xiao Meng, didn't Xiao Wu also ask you to bring him something? Tell me, what is it? He won't even tell me. Da Han looked at the bespectacled guy named Xiao Wu and had a smile on his face. Xiao Wu pretended to be nothing special. Everyone's interest in the issue has increased dramatically. Lai offered Xiao Meng his watch as a reward for the next task if he told her. Da Shan said, who needs this watch? If he tells you, he's even willing to give you a packet of cookies. Xiao Meng spread his hands to the sides and apologized. He couldn't tell because it was the client's confidential information. The bespectacled guy couldn't stand it any longer and told me himself, "Go away. I just asked him to bring a bunch of flowers." At the same time, he gave the middle finger. Everyone stood up in disbelief, and there was an awkward pause in the air. "Flowers?" Da Shan laughed. "Ah ha ha. Now I understand where the flowers came from in the trash can. They're yours." Lee laughed too. "Ha ha ha ha. Did you make a confession to someone?" "To your aunt, really." The guy with glasses said that it was Xiao Zhu from the logistics department. Everyone laughed very loudly. "Not only have I been rejected, but you're laughing at me." Meanwhile, lightning struck the street. Xiao Meng asked, What was that sound?" "It was thunder, right?" "Yeah, there's no mistaking it." The boss girl came running to them. Her chest bulged outwards, causing Xiao Meng to accidentally choke on it. She shouted, "Everyone, listen up. Wake up, quickly. What's going on here?" The girl read the edicts. "Xiao Wu, take all the old people, children, and those who can't fight with you and take them to the 3rd floor. Da Shan, your defensive position will be here. I'll go set up a perimeter defense." The guys scattered on their assignments, and Xiao Meng was left alone with nothing to do. He said, "What's going on? Why was everyone so alarmed?" The girl replied that a horde of zombies was coming. "A horde of zombies? Does that mean you want to hire us to help defend the camp?" The girl stared at him for a moment, then said, "Of course, except I can't pay much." Xiao Meng's face lit up. "Of course, do I look like a speculator who raises the price, seeing the hopeless situation in which the client finds himself?" He didn't mind agreeing, since the system would still give out a reward, and such a task couldn't be a bad one. In addition, the dialog box, new task appears. Client, Meng Dai. The task is confirmed. Objective, protect the camp from a horde of zombies. Difficulty level S. Xiao Meng was shocked and clutched his head in panic. "Heck, level B has exhausted me, and level S will surely finish me off." He asked, "System, can you not show the difficulty before accepting the task? You set me up." A thunderstorm continues to beat outside the window. Xiao Meng and Lai were standing by the window, and Lai took a drag on his cigarette and said, "Hey, another rainy day, I hope nothing happens this time." Xiao Meng asked him, "What happened before? By the way, you quickly got hooked on smoking." Lai exhaled smoke and said, "Our first chapter, her name was Yan Jai, died on a rainy day half a month ago. She died on the same dock where you met Daju. And the one who killed her was our current head, Meng Dai." Li finished his cigarette and threw it away. Next, we are told the backstory. That day, we received a radio call for help, and our then leader, Yan Zai, led us to rescue survivors. Get moving. Don't fall behind. This was our first outing in the rain. We could not even imagine that ordinary drops from the sky would affect the zombies so much. Meng Dai and Yan Jai were both very active and intelligent. However, they had different points of view and often argued with each other. Two girls and their partners were running away from a crowd of zombies. Meng Dai, running from behind, said, "Yan Jai, I told you not to come here. If we lose people here, the remaining survivors in the camp will also die." Yan Jai replied that since they had already dragged people outside, it didn't matter. When they return to the camp, they will have more people. Li, who was running in front, stopped and shouted, "Heck, there are also zombies ahead. We're surrounded. Stand back. I'll deal with them." Yan Jai ran forward, two guns in her hands, and started shooting. Suddenly, a zombie jumped at her from the side and she barely dodged. She hooked a rope around his neck and hung him from a beam, then kicked him in the head with her heel. The zombie flew into the crowd of other zombies. "The path is clear. Faster. Don't stop." Suddenly, Meng Dai noticed some noise on the shipping containers. "Yan Jai, watch out." A piece of metal landed in front of Yan Jai, along with a zombie with fangs sticking out of its mouth. It looked like an anomaly. From the looks of it, Yan Jai was slightly injured by a piece of metal that fell right in front of her. She shouted, "Meng Dai, leave immediately or we'll all lie down here." Meng Dai immediately ordered Lai to take all the survivors away first. Got it. Li was inexperienced at the time, but he still knew that if he had stayed, many people would have died that day. So he immediately drove to the waiting group of people. After his partners took in the rescued men, he immediately turned around and drove back to the port. But he hadn't expected this. Meng Dai, who was running away, jumped into a transport on the move. "Where is Yan Jai? Drive for God's sake." The zombies were already knocking on the car door. Lai insisted and asked again, "Where is Yan Jai?" Meng Dai first looked away, then at him and said that she had killed her. After returning to the camp, Meng Dai stated that when she and Yan Jai fought against the zombies, Yan Jai wanted to use her as bait and escape, but in the end, she herself died. Some people didn't believe her story. They even suspected that Meng Dai had killed Yan Jai to seize control of the camp. They were hoping that I would shed some light on what happened, since I was there at the time. Li exhaled cigarette smoke and raised a hand to his face. But I didn't say anything, because I knew that after Yan Jai's disappearance, Meng Dai was the best candidate for the role of camp leader. All in all, after that, Meng Dai became our new and undisputed leader thanks to his skills, and that matter with Yan Jai was no longer raised. Did I make the right decision then? Is Meng Dai worthy of being a leader? After listening to this story, Xiao Meng emphasized that the camp had been standing intact for the past half a month, so the facts speak for themselves. He thought that Li made the right decision because having a leader who can help him survive is better than knowing the truth. It started to rain outside, and raindrops began to fall on the zombie's body. The zombies started to let out furious screams. Meng Dai was on the defensive line at the eastern entrance of the camp. She was giving out commands to everyone. Don't relax because of the locked doors. These things will probably come through the windows. Move your bodies and install bars on the windows. Make the most of it. Don't spare any fuel. Make sure that the stairwells are secured. Someone was already sitting on the sill of one of the windows. The guy in the cap panicked and screamed, "Heck, they're really climbing up here." Da Zhu said, "Stop screeching. Put up the bars quickly, and I'll cover you." He swung the weapon. Meanwhile, the zombies continued to climb through the windows. "Chief, there aren't enough people on the west side." "Got it." One of the zombies climbed through the window, but Gu Xiaoyu knocked it out the other way. Seeing this, Lai commented, "Xiao Meng, where did you find your girlfriend? It is unrealistically cool." Xiao Meng blushed. Gu Xiaoyu was trained in Chinese boxing, and she's not my girlfriend. Da Zhu shouted, "Lai, quickly go and help on the west side." "Good, I'm off." But then Meng Dai appeared and ordered, "No, Li, stay here. Xiao Wu, come with us." While Li was aiming the gun, he asked, "Do I have to stay here?" "Yes, you will be in charge." And there was a guy with glasses standing next to us and he asked, "What is it, Li? Do you think you can't do it without us?" Li yelled at him, "Get out already. If you were good at your job, Xiao Zhu might have thought you were cool and wouldn't have sent you away." Suddenly, a zombie appeared behind Lai, but Xiao Meng cut it down. "Don't let your guard down, Li. If you have time to apologize, you'd better spend it killing a couple more zombies." Meanwhile, there were already a lot of zombies in the west corner of the third floor. Meng Dai fought off the zombies and said, "Da Shan, help the others clear the floor of zombies and restore the defense line. Xiao Wu and I will block the passageways to the floor." "Understood." Da Shan, who was standing next to the axe, began to execute the order. Meng Dai took another good look at the surroundings. "It looks pretty bad here. Should we blow up the stairs on the west side?" One of the guys was running away from the zombies and Da Shan helped him. "Get up and help Meng Dai. Faster." "Thanks." Fighting off the zombies, Meng Dai gave the order, "Team B, turn on the lights. Everything you have. But then we won't have any fuel left for later." "I don't care. If we don't make it through the night, no, then it won't happen either, do you understand?" Zombies crawled in from broken windows. The bespectacled man threw a spear at the zombie and pierced its head. "I guess I'm not that weak, am I?" "Don't get conceited, kid. How many of you can hit a spear right in the head?" "No, all because it's a gift." "What are you, gifted?" "Well, then go ahead and kill a couple more zombies. If we win and survive, so be it. I'll be your matchmaker." Meanwhile, on the defensive line at the eastern entrance of the camp, a hand with huge claws appeared on the windowsill. An abnormal zombie crawled inside. Xiao Meng noticed this. "Does it have spikes? Is it a mutant zombie?" The zombie jumped at him and swung its arm, but its arm was stopped by Gu Xiaoyu. "Phew, he almost hit me. If she was an ordinary person, this blow would definitely be fatal for her." Meanwhile, at the west entrance to the third floor, the spectacled Xiao Wu took a hit from an abnormal zombie that was heading towards Meng Dai. "Chief," blood spurted from his mouth. Meanwhile, in another place, the room was filled with furniture and bags. "Okay, Shan, let's do this. Maybe we'll be able to defend." The grandmother with the stick asked, "Why did you come?" "Grandma Chen, I'm sorry, we're lost." People who were also in the room began to panic. "I don't want to die. Can we hold out until dawn?" "Is the third floor finished too?" Meng Dai said loudly. "Good. Please calm down. It's not over yet. Li, count the soldiers and examine the wounded. Those who are bitten should immediately show generosity." "Okay." A girl came up to Da Shan and said, "Brother Shan, I will bind up your injured hand." This girl's name was Xiaoxu. She got down on one knee and bandaged the arm of Shan, who was sitting on the box. Da Shan didn't know how to tell the girl about the dead bespectacled man. The girl broke the silence. "He's dead, isn't he? I didn't see him approach you." "Apparently, he died." "Sorry, I couldn't protect him." The girl said, "What a fool you are, but yesterday you grabbed the flowers and confessed in front of so many people. I was nervous, so I rejected it, but I went looking for it right after, but Xiao Wu was nowhere to be seen. In fact, I really love it." She looked down, her face flushed and tears streaming from her eyes. Lai and Meng Dai were standing to the side. "Chief, count it. There are 9 fighters and 4 logisticians left." "That's not so much." The boy tried to go down, but they grabbed him by the arms and did not allow him to run. "Let me go. Brother Xiao Wu was killed. I will avenge him." "Wang Rui, calm down. If you go down, you'll die. Do you think we should hide and wait for death?" Suddenly, there were sounds outside the door. "They're coming." We need to get out of here immediately. Xiaoming stood on the side and watched everything indifferently. It wouldn't be difficult for him and Gu Xiaoyu to leave this place, but what about the others? They will wait for the appearance of a mutant zombie and shake with fear of death. Eat slowly, Gu Xiaoyu, no one is taking your food away from you. Gu Xiaoyu wanted a bun, and in her other hand was a meat drumstick. What should I do? Play the lottery. You can dig into your memories again, but if I pull out the soy milk pancakes again, it's all over. You need to try it. Xiaoming opened a dialogue box. Storage, steamed buns 15 pieces. Provide energy to employees. The product has not been used at this time. Xiaoming opens the HR Center menu. You need 100 points to unlock a new role. Unblock it. Let's see if there are any government employees nearby. The labor market menu has opened. Resume loading the folder. Xiaoming's face was filled with astonishment. It was raining outside. Xiaoming turned to Meng Dai. I have to move away for a while, but I'll leave Gu Xiaoyu behind to help defend myself. I'll be right back, if I survive. Meng Dai turned to him. Xiaoming, you have agreed to run my errand. Xiaoming smiled. Don't worry, I remember. After all, we're business people. Honesty comes first. The zombies were already bursting through the blocked door. Meng Dai directed the battle in their direction. Attention, it's time to defend yourself. Gu Xiaoyu was attacked from behind by an abnormal zombie, but she immediately cut it in two. She recalled the words spoken to her earlier. Gu Xiaoyu, can you help these people defend against the zombies alone? I have to leave, but in that case, the camp won't last until morning. And it won't last 3 hours without you. That's why you have to stay. I won't give you any orders. I think you can handle it all by yourself. Gu Xiaoyu was eating as she spoke. I believe in you. Gu Xiaoyu's spirits rose, and a scar-like energy rose up around her. Meanwhile, Xiaoming was among the shipping containers in the rain. Due to the sea tide, the number of zombies in the sea harbor has noticeably decreased. But there is a problem, so how do you rein in a new employee? Just like with Gu Xiaoyu earlier, you need to rely on the system for the second time as well. There are some things you need to prepare before you go. Updated UV spotlights will temporarily stop traffic, but you can only use them once. Xiaoming was looking at the item menu in the dialogue box. And then, my favorite blade will help you advance further. I do not know if Gu Xiaoyu and the others in the camp can handle it, but instead of worrying about others, you need to worry about yourself. Someone is here. Which Lee mentioned, there is a possibility of getting into a twofold situation. Suddenly, a zombie appeared on the back of the container behind him. Xiaoming turned around and was struck by lightning. Zombie with great speed almost instantly rushed at the main character. Why is everything I say coming true lately? Xiaoming folded his sword and blocked the blow with it. The zombie's blow was so strong that the sword broke right in the right places and flew off to the side. Xiaoming himself flew to the side. It was an abnormal zombie. The zombie rushed towards Xiaoming, but the girl they had previously fought in this port jumped down on top of it. It was Yan Jai. The zombie tried to attack her, but she kicked it in the face and it flew into the container. Why do zombies fight? It seems that Yan Jai still has a hatred for mutant zombies. Either way, I'm saved. But these actions of Yan Jai, before she died, did she train in combat skills? Would they kill each other? In response, the mutant zombie knocked Yan Jai to the ground and licked her with its tongue, then sank its teeth into her neck. The mutant zombie's wounds began to heal. Is he absorbing Yan Jai to heal himself? What should I do? If I run away, the camp won't be saved. But if I stay, he thought of Gu Xiaoyu. There's no time for this. Xiaoming took out a flashlight from his backpack and shouted, "Watch this." The light hit the zombies. Xiaoming said, "Stop bullying my future employee." The zombie covered its face with its hand and then jumped at Xiaoming. Did he recover so quickly? Suddenly, the zombie was pinned to the ground by a thin pipe. Yan Jai stood nearby and tossed them around. She swung and threw a few more that hit the zombies. The zombie was completely nailed to the ground. It screamed and then completely flew apart. Eventually, he died. But why did it explode? Because he's a mutant. Yan Jai jumped in place of the flying zombie. Xiaoming prepared himself. Okay, it's time for the next one. How do I subdue it? Meanwhile, the people in the base were desperately trying to fend off the wave of zombies. Brother Zhu, can you aim it? I can't do it either. Not too fast. 3 zombies jumped on the guy at once, but they were all cut down by Gu Xiaoyu. One of them wasn't injured enough, so he spun around in the air and jumped at Gu Xiaoyu. She dodged, and pushing off from the ceiling finally nailed him. Wow, don't be silly. Xiaoming didn't just keep her away from us during the battle. You see, you can die yourself. One of the zombies nearby got to his feet. Why? He's up. Leave it to me. The other guy tried to stab him, but the zombie dodged. This zombie is so strong. But I can't lose either. He threw another punch, but missed. Meanwhile, Lai and Meng Dai also continued to desperately fight off the zombies. We can't die here. Yinghong and her daughter are still waiting for me. The guy with the axe swung. Suddenly, in the distance, he saw a woman with a child. His pupils dilated and he dropped the axe from his hands. He asked them, Yinghong, is that you? Is that you and your daughter? How did you get here? He remembered their happy faces before they turned into zombies. Aw, so that's what it is, you've come for me. I've missed you so much, please come and hug me. He held out his hands in their direction. Let's go home. The zombies were already closing in on him. Gu Xiaoyu flew towards the bags and struggled to her feet. A new crowd of zombies has appeared. We'll help you get away from them. Li pointed the gun. Xiao Wu, a guy with glasses who turned into a zombie, is now chasing after a girl whom he confessed to shortly before his death. Xiao Wu, wait, don't. Stop it. Girl B tripped over a trash can containing a bouquet of flowers. The girl landed right on the flowers. Gu Xiaoyu leapt into the attack with all her strength, but she fell to the ground. She was already struggling to stand up. She recalled Xiao Meng's words and the fact that he believed in her. Thanks to this, I managed to get back on my feet. A crowd of zombies was already heading towards her there and she let out a war cry. Then her strength left her and she started to fall, but Xiao Meng caught her by the shoulders. Do Xiaoyu, take a good rest. Leave the rest to us. Xiao Meng returned with a new employee. Meanwhile, Xiao Wu almost attacked the girl he loved, but Xiao Meng threw something at his head and he fell down. Xiao Wu, rest in peace. Meanwhile, on the other side, Li was pinned to the wall, trying his best to fend off the zombies. Dashan, you're an old man. Why do you have such strength? At this moment, the new employee Yanjai leapt towards that zombie and cut it down. Xiao Meng ran over and handed Lai the girl, Gu Xiaoyu unconscious. Take care of her. For the rest, leave it to me and the reinforcements. Reinforcements, that white-haired girl. But she is. Meng Dai was nearby. I think you've noticed, too. Despite the changes, there can be no mistake. It's Yanjai. Yanjai calmly dealt with the rest of the zombies as if nothing had happened. When Xiao Meng was at the seaport, he turned to her and said, Yanjai, listen to me. The camp that you led is currently in a difficult situation. Without your support, we can't make it. If you don't come with me, they're finished. After the above, Xiao Meng thought that there was no other way out and only this. He said, I know you're offended with Meng Dai, but it's not the other part of the camp that's at fault. If you want, I'll kill Meng Dai for you. Xiao Meng waited for her reaction. He thought she didn't agree. The girl moved closer to him. Am I going to die here? The girl struck out with a pipe, and the pipe entered the head of the zombie behind Xiao Meng. System alert, the temporary employment contract with Yanjai has been concluded. A temporary contract. You don't seem to mind helping. Temporary contracts don't have corporate loyalty, and you can't choose your skills either. The temporary contract can be terminated at any time at the request of the employee. Geez, why do I have to interview an employee to come back? Since the number of employees is greater than 1, the perception function is enabled to facilitate communication between the employer and the employee. Yanjai continued to destroy the remaining zombies without any problems. Keep it up, Yanjai. Yanjai is very confused by such shouts. Yanjai looked at Xiao Meng. If you think it adds confidence, you're not, because you look like a little girl. Don't swear, don't swear. Another pack of zombies charged at them. Yanjai, show me your skills, okay. The girl jumped into the crowd. Nearby she found a burden and grabbed it. The system window appeared. Employee Yanjai, activating the skill. Gunsmith, something shone around the blade of her knife and she stabbed. Xiao Meng was surprised. With just one small dagger, how is that possible? She chopped up a whole pack of zombies, and then the knife in her hands disappeared. Skill description, Yanjai turns any item in her hand into a weapon. You can sacrifice durability, thereby increasing the strength and range of the attack. The duration of action is 120 seconds. Next, we are told a moment from the past of Yanjai and Meng Dai. Meng Dai said, Yanjai, come here. Looks like the zombies are finished. It's time to get back to camp. Yanjai grabbed her arm. Meng Dai, I'm afraid it won't work. Yanjai showed her his injured hand. Wait, I'm going to find an axe and chop off your hand. We can do it because the virus hasn't spread yet. Meng Dai grabbed her by the shoulders, but got the answer, don't tear it off in vain. I've been fighting with him for too long, and now only I can maintain consciousness. Listen carefully. Don't tell anyone that I was infected by a zombie, otherwise the people from the camp will lose hope of survival. After my death, only you can become the leader. Meng Dai's face was horrified at these words. She burst into tears. Why so? Meng Dai, live for them. I beg. Meng Dai wiped her face with her hand. Deceiver, how can you live in peace after making me cry? Wait till I survive tonight, finish you off. The zombies kept coming, but Yanjai successfully fought them, and she threw a box at one of the zombies and a screwdriver at the other and broke through 3 zombies at once. Just one screwdriver, and even with such force and distance. Xiao Meng was surprised. Yanjai loaded a tennis ball and threw it at the zombie. Another swarm of zombies rushed at them. Behind this crowd of zombies, there was a zombie with a megaphone that probably directed everyone. Xiao Meng gave an order, Yanjai. We need to kill zombies with a megaphone. but Yan Jai believes that it is impossible to get through them. Meng Dai and the boy with the hammer came up behind them. Rely on us. Leave it to us. Xiao Meng started rummaging through his backpack and said, Yan Jai, some of us have to answer to others. And on you, their leader. I've been wanting to try one for a long time. Xiao Meng took out a toy monkey from his backpack. Monkey hitting the gong. Okay, here we go. The monkey started making noises and all the zombies started walking towards Xiao Meng. Lee, who was standing off to the side, said, oh, I want to help too. But the guy next to me said to stop talking nonsense. We're out of ammo, so get them out. Meanwhile, Yan Jai saw the support and smiled and jumped into the crowd of zombies. Their heads flew in different directions. Yan Jai jumped behind the zombie with a megaphone and its megaphone broke. Xiao Meng panicked. The last weapon didn't work. Yan Jai was holding the belt that she had removed from the zombie leader's pants. She jumped and tied the strap around the zombie's neck, then tore its head off. Wait, at night it's been 2 weeks. After Yan Jai killed the leader of the mutant zombies, things became much easier. Lee was standing in the middle of the grass, shoveling dirt. Less than half of the humans had survived that night. Most of the deceased were buried without any body parts. Lee and the little boy were standing by the newly made grave. Supplies were low and the building was badly damaged, so the survivors decided to move out. So Xiao Meng he received a lot of orders while preparing for the road. During the interrogation, Meng Dai told Lai about what happened on that fateful day. Lee was finally relieved of a heavy burden. Gu Xiaoi woke up after 2 days in a coma. Of course, after waking up, she ate and drank non-stop. But it doesn't matter. As for Yan Jai, Xiao Meng hadn't seen her since. Meng Dai stood on the street and commanded, get ready to go. Lee panicked a little, aren't you coming? Meng Dai turned around and said that she wanted to wait for Yan Jai. You've got to be kidding me. We don't know where she is. How long do you plan to wait? It doesn't make any sense. But Meng Dai has already made up her mind, there's no need to change her mind. Yan Jai was watching the scene from the rooftop. Xiao Meng appeared behind Yan Jai and asked if she wanted to meet them. He said, don't be surprised, our temporary contract hasn't been terminated yet, which is why I can still find you. I didn't pass because I wanted to wait for you. Lai endured for the sake of the camp, even after he became suspicious of Meng Dai. Meng Dai took on a lot of responsibility and accepted all the pain, becoming the leader. Yan Jai, go, at least say goodbye to them. You've turned into a zombie anyway, so why be so thoughtful? Xiao Meng clapped her on the shoulder. Don't worry, I'm here. Meanwhile, Meng Dai continued to argue downstairs. How can a leader be left alone? Are you even aware of your actions? In that case, I'm not the leader anymore. In short, enough persuading, go. Li said that in that case, they would die together, and he would also wait. Xiao Meng came out to them. All right, stop shouting. I brought her. Yan Jai was standing next to him. It's Yan Jai. Wonderful. We can go now. I'm sorry, but she came to say goodbye. There was silence. Yan Jai, she's not a human anymore, and the horns are perfect proof of that. And I'm the only one who can communicate with her. She's not human. The people standing behind were terrified. Meng Dai was angry, and that's why you wanted to leave without saying goodbye. Do you even know how I've been living this whole month? Everyone started questioning me after I took over as the leader, but in the end, I endured all the pressure and united everyone. However, every day I worry that nothing will work out. I'm afraid that everything will collapse. Every day I think about what you would have done if you were still alive. Every day. Do you think I'll reject you just because you're not human anymore? After all, we are comrades who fight side by side. If it wasn't for Xiao Meng, you wouldn't even be willing to give me another chance at parting. Yan Jai patted Meng Dai's head. Tears welled up in Meng Dai's eyes and she threw herself into Yan Jai's arms. Xiao Meng and Lai stood to the side watching this. Lai, I will rely on you and Meng Dai to take care of her. Good. Necessarily, Meng Dai said. This is for you. This is the most expensive thing I bought before the apocalypse. I really value it. Yan Jai, Xiao Meng and Gu Xiaoi were standing by the car. The boy looking out of the window asked, Brother Xiao Meng, when you and sis are gone, what if we can't handle the zombies? You will have to try hard. Be more optimistic. Don't forget your father's words. The boy was delighted. The car started to leave. Goodbye. Xiao Meng, Gu Xiaoyu, and Yan Jai watched them go. They left. Xiao Meng turned to Yan Jai and asked, and you, what do you plan to do? Suddenly, the system window appeared. Yan Jai, successful hiring of an employee. Yan Jai thinks you are cowardly, but she is willing to follow you. Yan Jai had a smile on her face. Xiao Meng also smiled and said, good. It's harvest time. The system window appears. Points 1007. This time, I want to play 10 lotteries. The lottery system is activated. Xiao Meng was standing on the roof of the building. I found the perfect spot. After such hard work, finally scored 1000 points. He was looking at the system window. Country of the moons. City of Longhai. Autumn. Time 14:34. System status stable. Active missions 1. The main mission is completed. Points 1003. Financial situation stable. Economic situation stable. Employee status. Corporation status preparatory stage. Another menu is not unlocked. Activate the lottery system. Activation of the lottery system. Come on, the system. Today, I will surpass the European Emperor. 10 launches. Xiao Meng was overjoyed. The system menu showed one night vision contact lens. After putting it on, it allows you to see clearly in the dark. Then a dark red sword 1 piece. Increased strength and hardness. 2 blue objects. Not a bad start. After the system updates the weapon arsenal, the item can be summoned at any time, so you don't need to constantly carry it with you. Go ahead. Mint bath foam 1 piece. Ingredients for cooking 1 piece. 1 soda box. Salt 10 pieces. Holy, how could I forget about the law of meanness? Yan Jai and Gu Xiaoi were standing on the side drinking a drink and couldn't understand the reason for his madness. Forget it. We continue. Here a regeneration of workers is one thing. It can cure employees. A short-term preventative mutation is one thing. Within 12 hours after taking the injection, if the character gets such a zombie, then do not get infected. Please note that after infection, the effect is not valid. Gu Xiaoi's memories are one thing. The universal fragment of memories is one thing. Thank you, system. You are the greatest being. My savior. Yan Jai believes that to be extremely disrespectful. Gu Xiaoyu thinks the same thing, but she's too kind, so she won't say it. Even though the universal fragment can make Gu Xiaoyu stronger, I still want to know Yan Jai's background. The system exchanged the fragment for Yan Jai's memories. The exchange was successfully completed. Yan Jai was surprised. Come on, show your boss what you've been doing before. The fragment started showing the desert. Something glowed behind them. What's happening? Corpses were piled up among the smoking buildings and people were shooting at each other. A massacre. What's going on here? The bald man exhaled tobacco smoke and said, okay, such idiots are not worth our money, let the fire deal with them. Before that, Yan Jai was a terrorist. A hand emerged from the pile of corpses. The girl crawled out and got away from this mountain of corpses. There was a trail of blood from it. The flame of the flamethrower began to spread over the corpses and ignited everything. No one would have thought that the elite Snow Crow squad would go to destroy a terrorist organization. The only survivor was a small girl who was saved. A uniformed man stood in front of the graves and explained, even the slightest act of kindness from the demons is enough to make the terrorists tense up. More ironically, the little girl was controlled with drugs. Out of 67 people, 66 died, and this was the final of the Snow Crow. But thanks to the information received, the Screaming Wolf was safely disarmed, and now the entire terrorist group has fallen. My application was approved today. Snow Owl will be inherited. This is a kind of condolence message. The bandaged Yan Jai stood silently and looked at the graves. The man started walking away. Yan Jai, there's not much I can do. In addition, the organization provides you with vacation and psychological assistance. You can return at any time. Commander, I want you to keep the Snow Crow. For what reason? The Snow Crow will not be inherited. Because it belongs to everyone. Yan Jai walked along the portraits of her deceased Snow Crow squad mates. She turned gray in the dining room. Then I showered in the shower and left the Snow Crow dorm. She walked into the office and saluted. Commander Chen, I have successfully transmitted the information, and we have managed to complete the mission of eliminating the terrorists. The Snow Crow has completed its mission. Tears flowed from Yan Jai's eyes. Yan Jai and the others were standing on the roof of the house when the system window appeared. System notification, side mission opened. City, Binhai, the home of Commander Yan Jai. Purpose of arrival, Yan Jai must visit the orphan commander. Requirements, take Yan Jai to Commander Chen's house. Reward, +20 to employee loyalty. Xiao Meng was surprised, crossing his arms. Wow, just like that. Visit the commander's house, so you need to see the address. Xiao Meng looked at the map. Confirmed. Let's go. But first, Yan Jai, change your clothes. You're too shabby. It was evening and sunset. Xiao Meng walked all tired. It's so hard. The system does not give an exact location, showing or saying that we are somewhere nearby, and how to search for it. Looks like it won't work today. We need to find a place to spend the night. Suddenly, they heard unusual sounds from the side. Faster, faster run. A crowd of people were fleeing from the zombies. Xiaoyu, Yan Jai, stop the zombies, and I will help people. Both girls jumped towards the zombies. They landed on top of the zombies, and in unison, they began to blow up the rest of the crowd. The people watching, who had just run away, were surprised. Who doesn't? Where did they come from? I don't know, but they are very strong. A zombie ran at the guy from behind and he screamed, "Behind you." Xiao Meng jumped on top of the zombie and destroyed it. He then extended his hand to the guys. Are you injured? Can you move? The guy was sitting on the ground. Everything is fine. It's a good thing I came across you, otherwise you would have had a hard time. The guy with glasses asked, brother, could you walk us out? Xiaomeng agreed. The system window appears. Client, Wang Jai. Mission, escort the humans and destroy the werewolves. Difficulty category B, werewolves. Do you mean mutant zombies or something? The guy with glasses said he didn't know, but they were stuck here for a few days, all because they were attacked. Xiaomeng said, wow, I want to see this. As long as you protect us, you can take any supplies from the camp. Okay, that's settled. Xiaomeng turned his attention to the building that was opposite him. Someone jumped from the side of the building at a very high speed. It was the werewolves who appeared. Xiaomeng gave an order, Yanjai, grab them. Xiaoyu, protect them. The group of people that Xiaomeng was protecting suddenly took out their guns. Xiaomeng turned around. Take him, take him. A group of people were aiming at the werewolves in the sky. What's happening? Meanwhile, Yanjai was fighting with the werewolf and she lightly scratched it. Let's shoot. Xiaomeng was against it. Wait, my employee is still there. The guys didn't listen to his words and started shooting. Xiaomeng shouted, Yanjai, dodge. Yanjai noticed the shots and dodged them. All the shots were fired at the werewolf. Unable to contain his anger, Xiaomeng grabbed the bespectacled guy by the collar. My employees are fighting in close combat. You wanted to kill her. We saw it. But it was for cover. How do you even work? Didn't you say that you were conscientious about what you did? Okay. Xiaomeng released him. Find a place to hide. The sound of the gunshot must have attracted a lot of zombies. Even with a weapon, you can't handle them. Xiaomeng said that he has principles. So if he promised to do something, then he will fulfill it to the end. Xiaoyu, give chase. The werewolf was running away from the chase. The werewolf turned around, tore off a piece of the door from the abandoned car, and threw the door at her. The girl grabbed the door and threw it back, but with more force. The werewolf flew out of the way. His arm was injured. In midair, he regrouped and then jumped onto a high-rise building. Meanwhile, Xiaomeng ran over. He's hurt. Most likely, he will hide in the building. They went inside. The smell of this beast is too clear, even I can smell it. He's here. Xiaoyu, break down the door. She kicked the door open. There were two girls standing outside the door. A dialogue box appears. Mission update, you have arrived at the Commander Chen's house location. The girl was sitting at the table and drinking a hot drink. Looking at the photos, Xiaomeng asked her, do you want to say that this werewolf saved you? Everything is so. Have you heard of Enterprise Park? No, but I've worked in something similar. I ran away from there. That camp was formed by real bandits. About 8-9 days ago, when we were looking for food with the guys, we were ambushed and taken to the camp. They killed the old people and saved the rest of the children to have fun with them. It's better to die at the hands of zombies than to live there. Recently, we took advantage of the flood of corpses to escape. While in a desperate situation where we were being chased by zombies and these people, he appeared. Xiaomeng looked at the letter in his hand. Certificate of Honor. Lifetime fame. Honor to the best search and rescue dog. Name, Tank. Breed, German Shepherd. Gender, male. Age, 7 years old. It turns out that this is a search and rescue dog that Commander Chen sheltered. It turns out that even after becoming a zombie, he kept his habits. Yanjai was in the same room as the werewolf. Xiaomeng came into the room and explained that the werewolf appeared because he thought we were in trouble, so he wanted to save us. Even though he is so desperate to help people, in fact, he is seriously injured himself. All he could do was watch people turn into zombies, and then he had to watch as these zombies began to be exterminated. He carried everything on his own, relying on his old instincts. The werewolf was sitting in front of the things that had been laid out, looking sad. He looks like someone else. Yanjai smiled faintly. Suddenly they heard screams. Let me go. Let me go. Help. The tank. Xiaomeng ran out to the next room. What happened? The guy with glasses, whom he had previously defended, took the girl hostage and pointed a gun at her. Wow, Chief, so you're here too. It's all right, this is my woman. Behind the bespectacled guy were his companions. He said, I didn't expect you to hide here. Hey you, did you think you could run away? I will take back what is mine, even if I have to go to the end of the world. He tugged at her hair. Xiaomeng said, let her go. The group of guys were surprised to see Xiaomeng here. Since you're here, you should be aware of everything, right? The boys pointed their guns at him. If you kill the werewolf, according to our agreement, you will receive a generous reward. Also, I can let you have some fun with her. How about this? Despite the fact that there are also quite good girls around you, men tend to change their tastes sometimes, don't they? Xiaomeng exhaled heavily. So this is the end of the world. Dogs are becoming more and more like humans, and people, in turn, are becoming more and more like dogs. The guy adjusted his glasses. That's your answer? Well, that's unfortunate. And I wanted to pardon you. Grab them. The guys with guns ran forward. Go ahead and blow his head off. Xiaomeng was angry. He gave the order, Xiaoyu, Yanjai, kill them. There was no pity in his voice. A moment later, the two guys who were running with guns were hit and turned in the opposite direction. Instant death. Both girls looked like demons. The bespectacled guy and the rest of his gang clutched their heads. That scream. They're zombies. He really raised a zombie. What the hell? Let's run. The group of abusers ran out into the corridor and began to run. The werewolf wanted to run after them, but Xiaoming stopped him. Wait, rescue dogs aren't supposed to hurt others. Leave it to us. Meanwhile, the boys continued to run down the corridor. We lost? Is he crazy? Suddenly, Yanjai appeared in front of the blonde guy. He fell to the floor, then turned around and ran in the opposite direction, but Xiaoyu was already standing there. Both girls grabbed him by the shoulders and twisted his head off. On the other side, another guy was running. He saw that someone was chasing him and ran inside the room. He didn't even give me a gun, he wants me dead. Oh my god, if I close the door, I'll make too much noise. The boy covered his mouth with his hands and stared at the door in silence. Soft footsteps could be heard. Is she gone? It looks like it is. Wonderful, I'm saved. At this time, the guy wet himself from the waist down. A drop from his pants fell to the floor and made a sound. He was angry. It was only worth relaxing. Xiaoyu smashed through the door with her fist. The hiding guy was in shock. Xiaoyu smiled. Meanwhile, a guy with glasses was running down the corridor, a gun in his hands. He said, Xiaomeng, didn't you say that you deal with people fairly? How dare you attempt to kill your employer? He shot him. Xiaomeng ran from behind and dodged the shot. People, you don't have the right to be called them. The guy's gun was out of bullets. He dropped the gun and ran on. We just fight for life, give them food and blood, and they, in turn, give us their bodies. What's wrong with that? While he was saying all this, he ran into the room. Xiaomeng went to pick him up and looked around to see where he had gone. A bespectacled guy with a knife was standing outside the door behind him. The guy swung the knife and attacked Xiaomeng. Still want to kill me? You will be the first to die. Xiaomeng kicked him in the stomach. His knife fell from his hand. Xiaomeng threw the guy aside. I didn't mean to kill you, I just want to kill the cattle from your camp. No one will leave. The enemy slowly began to get to his feet. You may have raised zombies, but they have heavy weapons. Not crazy people. You don't have a chance. Xiaomeng took out his new sword. It doesn't matter, they won't survive. Hands repelled the enemy. During the end of the world, everyone went crazy. He shouted, Xiaomeng, let's go one-on-one with you, and jumped on Xiaomeng. The main character grabbed him by the face with the palm of his hand and slammed him to the floor. Then he swung his sword at the man's head. During the end of the world, there are no laws or morals, which is why people start setting their own points. You trample and play with others, these are your laws. As for me, I don't think that justice affects anything. It is a pity that my laws do not coincide with yours. That's all. Xiaomeng swung his sword. There was a scream. Xiaomeng, bloodstained, walked down the corridor. We need to find the others. Meanwhile, in the madman's camp, a man in nothing but his underwear was suspended from a rope, feet up, and zombies were swarming around him from below. The man shouted, let me go. Please, please release me. A man stood on the roof of the building and watched the show in silence. A bound woman lay beside him. He said, well, you must be worried about your boyfriend getting eaten while you're having fun with me, right? The girl begged to be released. Please, we won't run away again. Let him go. Shut up, woman. The man kicked her in the head. You're leaving because you can please me. Do you understand? You can't object. The man began to stretch his fly. The woman was crying and shouting, don't. Save me. Okay, let's have some fun. But then someone said, you're an even bigger scumbag than I imagined. The man's severed arm flew off to the side. The man fell on his back and screamed. Xiaomeng appeared along with his team. You're trash. Xiaomeng has arrived. The guy with the severed arm fell from the roof onto garbage bags. What's going on here? Lao Hai fell. But why? Oh no. His arm was blown off. Who did this? The two men below looked up at the roof. Xiaomeng was standing on top. The one who came to escort you to the next world. Yell my name, and then you may die quickly. Xiaomeng and his team jumped down and started dealing with the bandits. Two of the bandits were slammed into the wall. The girl was behind bars. Sister who? There's a fight outside. They're coming. Hurry up, come here. A man flew into their detention cell and hit the wall. A werewolf entered the cell. Is this the monster that Xiaozu was talking about? At the same time, outside, the guy was peeking out from behind the wall. The leader, we can't win. They seem to be practicing kung fu. Incorrect. They're all raised zombies. But no matter how cool the zombies are, they are still afraid of weapons. Follow me. Yan Jiao smashed the base of the bottle and threw the rest of it at the bandit. At the same time, Xiaoyu is behind her. Sitting on the roof of the car, a machine gunner opened fire on them, but only hit his ally while the girls jumped out of the way. The man continued to shoot while on the roof of the armored personnel carrier. Xiaomeng, along with the werewolf and the rescued girls, was hiding behind the wall. So that's what the weapon is. However, they did not exceed my expectations. Hide it here. Don't come out until I come. The tank, I'm relying on you. Tank nodded his head. The bandit continued to fire his machine gun. Well, come here, kids. We will not allow them to enter our territory. Tank escaped to the wall and ran towards the armored car. The bandit pointed a machine gun at him and said, "Don't think you're immortal." Tank jumped straight into a burst of machine gun fire. Right before that, Xiaomeng had given him a tonic that allowed him to heal faster early. This remedy protected him. While Tank was holding the machine gunner, Xiaomeng gave the order to the girls, "It's time to attack. Only one attempt. We must win." The machine gun burst almost assaulted Xiaoyu, but she dodged it, sitting behind the machine gun guy behind Yanjai, and smashed his head off. Meanwhile, Xiaomeng tore into the car. A bearded man sitting behind the wheel begged not to kill him. "Please let me go. Please. I'll give you anything you want." Xiaomeng asked him, "Is it scared?" "Okay, but remember this feeling well. Keep him on your mind with every cell in your body." Xiaomeng turned around and walked in the other direction. The man was thanking him. Thank you for not killing me." But it was only a joke. Xiaomeng immediately turned around and said, "Go to hell," then hit the man. After that, Xiaomeng's team cleared out the bandits' camp and rescued all the prisoners. They also cleaned up Commander Chen's house and sealed the door. Xiaomeng stood in front of the door with a satisfied face. "Okay, let's go." He told the survivors to head north. Maybe they could find Meng Dai and Lao Lai's team. Tank decided to stay and accompany them. "I believe that in the future we will meet again." Mission completed successfully. Xiaomeng was very satisfied. "I've never encountered a hybrid like Tank before. There's so much to do with zombies. I don't know if scientists are working, but maybe I should go to the Center for Preventive Disease Control myself. But the center is located in another city. To get there, you need to cross the river. Well, I won't think about how the zombies appeared and who controls them. I still don't understand anything. I'll think about it later." Yanjai is getting used to your strange conversations with himself. Xiaoyu also thinks it's strange, but she's too kind, so she doesn't say anything. A dialogue box appears. Mission completed. Reward, loyalty plus 30, total 60%. Xiaomeng was overjoyed. Haha, employees mission accomplished. I can't wait for their loyalty to be 100%. System hint, counting completed, currently score 413. Hint system, you voluntarily broke the contract. As a punishment, the system takes 10 times the number of points. Due to the lack of points, 5% will be deducted daily. Please repay as soon as possible. Xiaomeng got angry. Tenfold deduction. The female consultant said to him, "Sir, we can't give you credit. You owe more than 4 million to other banks." That's why they were blacklisted. There were tears in his eyes, but he had to move on. Both employees are concerned about your poor health. Xiaomeng decided to choose a fragment of Xiaoyu's memories and continue to complete new missions. He took out the fragment. Let's take a look. It's interesting to see what Xiaoyu's second memory is like. Flash. Every time you enter the memories, it's blinding. I think I need sunglasses. Xiaomeng sees a cake that says happy birthday in it. Happy birthday Xiao Tian. Xiao Tian. So this is the Xiaoyu family. How cute. But why can't I see Xiaoyu herself? A woman with a formidable face asked Xiaoyu what about the dishes. The girl was standing in the kitchen, slicing vegetables. "Sorry, I'm already doing it." The boy complained to his dad. "Xiaoyu bought a Coke with a blue label, and I wanted a red one. Red and blue. What's the difference?" The boy started to get cranky. "Of course, I want a red one. The red one. The red one." Xiaoyu came out with a tray to the table, and the boy threw a Coke on her. "It's all because of you." The girl was soaking wet. Mom reproached her daughter, "Why are you standing there? Hurry up, clean up everything here and get your brother a Coke." "What is it?" Offended. "But it's your own fault that you bought the wrong thing. I deserve it." Xiaoyu was surprised by this answer but said that she knew about it. Xiaoyu slammed the door and left. It was snowing outside. She went to a convenience store and was already leaving with a red-labeled Coke bag. She clutched the change in her hands. Xiaoyu went to the park. She lit a match and lit the candle that was inserted into the bun. She was a little burned. "Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me." Xiaoyu was celebrating her birthday. The snow continued to fall, and Xiaomeng silently watched the girl's memories. The girl said, "Okay, it's time to wish. I hope I can save up some money, go to universities and find a good job. And then I will have my own home." The girl clasped her hands in supplication and then blew out the candle. A dialog box appears. New task. Time limit 24 hours. Employee Xiaoyu. Mission objective: prepare a birthday cake for Xiaoyu. Mission difficulty: D. Xiaomeng patted Xiaoyu on the head. "Even if it wasn't for the mission, I would still make a cake. But can my employees only eat cake for their own birthday? Even during the apocalypse, the leader will give you the best holiday. Xiaomeng was pushing Xiaoyu on a shopping cart from the supermarket. Xiaoyu ate a bunch of different buns and had fun on the rides. She ate cotton candy, then Yunjai did her hair. Xiaoyu posed like a model for a magazine. Then they posed together. Later, they went to a photo booth and took pictures together. Xiaoyu stood and held the photos in her hands. Xiaomeng called back to her, "Hey, Xiaoyu, what are you standing for? Let's go." They came to a candy store. "Hey, Yanjai, don't touch it. It's been 2 months since the apocalypse started. These cakes stink. We are here to make the cake ourselves. When the cake is ready, Xiaoyu will be so happy that her loyalty will increase significantly." Xiaomeng presented himself as the best leader. He took out books, gluten, eggs, and other ingredients needed for the cake. He opened the book and began to read. "Yanjai, please pass me the eggs." The egg flew past him and broke. "Okay, I'll take it on myself." "Wait a minute. What are you doing? You need to put the flour in a bowl, not throw it." Yanjai's patience is almost at its limit. -1. Xiaomeng clutched his forehead. "Sis, I was wrong. I think you should rest." Xiaomeng mixed in the eggs and other ingredients. "Oh, the shell hit. Do you need to put sugar? Too much water. What naivety, why did I expect that the preparation of the cake will not take much time? Can I win a cake?" Xiaomeng once again recalled how Xiaoyu celebrated her birthday alone in the winter. He stretched and said, "Okay, I'll try again." 1,000 years later. Not really 1,000 years, but somewhere after 6-7 attempts. Haha. In the end, it worked. "It's baking time. Luckily, I have a generator. You just need to turn on the electricity." He plugged it in. Suddenly, the words of the song were heard in full swing. "Does the store have a stereo system?" The speakers were getting louder and louder. A bunch of zombies took notice. Xiaomeng clutched his face. What to do? The sounds attracted zombies. The zombies ran towards the sound. Xiaomeng quickly pulled the plug out of the socket. What carelessness. "Get ready for battle." Xiaoyu rushed into the fight, but Xiaomeng stopped her. "Today without you. Rely on us with Yanjai. New company rules, employees have a day off on their birthday." "Yanjai, I'll close the door now, you'll finish off all the zombies." Yanjai jumped and started hitting the zombies. Xiaomeng panicked a little. Suddenly, he saw Yanjai swinging an old pastry bag from under the buttercream. "Wait, it's for the cake." Yanjai wanted to take something else from the kitchen table, but Xiaomeng said that it should not be touched either. The system blocked the employee's intent to attack the leader. "Sister, come on, I've been working for hours." She threw a few plates at the zombie. Xiaomeng rubbed his chin. "In fact, I thought the cake lacked solemnity." "Got it. Yanjai, take Xiaoyu to the top floor, I'll come over later. By the way, Xiaoyu, when you get to the roof, close your eyes and wait for me." So, Yanjai went upstairs with Xiaoyu. Xiaomeng came up with a great method. "The cake is ready. Everything is ready." He opened a dialogue box. 51 out of 100. The employee's mental state is stable in 90% of cases. Employee hunger 72%. Yanjai employee. Working together. Watch. This is my first collaboration with Yanjai, so I wonder what will happen. Xiaomeng sat down on one leg, holding a cake in his right hand. This feeling. The experience of working with Xiaoyu is completely different. Then I felt full of energy, excitement, ardor. But this time it's much calmer. Everything will work out. On the way of the main character, several zombies appeared. "Get out, no one will stop me from delivering the cake. No one can stop her from eating the cake. I won't let anyone make her have to wait." Xiaomeng threw up the cake and cut down 5 zombies with his sword. Then he elegantly caught it under his nose again with the cake. Just a little more. Meanwhile, on the rooftop, Yanjai was fighting off a crowd of zombies. Xiaoyu closed her eyes and waited in silence. Xiaomeng ran on. "Despite the fact that I am very sorry for gasoline, but for the happiness of my employees, I do not feel sorry for anything." He lit a lighter and threw it into a puddle of gasoline. He shouted, "Xiaoyu, open your eyes." Xiaoyu started to slowly open her eyes. There was an explosion below, and along with this explosion, fireworks flew up. "This is my gift to you. Holiday fireworks, limited edition of the apocalypse." Xiaoyu was surprised by what she saw. Xiaomeng walked up to her. "Okay, the cream is also ready. Xiaoyu, I will make you a birthday cake every year until I die. Come on, make a wish." Xiaomeng smiled. "Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, Xiaoyu." The candles were blown out. Xiaoyu thought that the cake was very strange, but she has a good heart, so she won't say anything. Binhai City, due to its advantage over natural disasters, has developed rapidly in recent years, especially in high-tech industries. Due to economic development, the old city area was transformed into residential, and industry was relocated. The streets weren't too crowded, and after the virus outbreak, everything was empty, so I decided to go to the old part of town to take a look around. Time 1.5 months after the completion of the Xiaoyu mission. Process in progress. Place Binhai City. Xiao Meng was standing on the roof of the building. A guy called out to him from behind. Hey, Xiao Meng, what happened to the bridge? This guy's name is Hoyan. I met him by the river a few days ago. It just so happens that before the disaster, he was an employee of the company. Xiao Meng replied, failure, the bridge is broken. You can't even jump on a rope. It can't be helped, let's go back. Hoyan Group. A bald man wearing a cap was sitting on an old sofa. This person is the current chief of Hoyan, now we work together. His camp and most of the people are located elsewhere. Hoyan and I went out to find a way to cross the river. I get it, good job, brother Xiao Meng. What about you, did you find anything? We found a boat near the river. A boat. Not broken. Yeah, it's a yacht, there's no problem with the engine or anything else. However, there is no fuel. In that case, the best thing to do now is to go in search of fuel. After all, temporary supplies will only last for 2-3 days. If they knew that I had set fire to an entire carload of gasoline some time ago, they would probably be dead by now. The man in the cap said, Brother Xiao Meng, would you like to look into this matter? After all, the leader keeps 2 beauties with him, and we, in turn, will only become a burden to you. What do you say? Alright, brother Zhu just wants to save some time and transfer people to the yacht for now to meet up later, right? I know I should beat around the bush. The man in the cap laughed. Brother Xiao Meng made it clear. Once completed, the reward will be decent. Xiao Meng turned around and walked. While you transfer your supplies to the yacht, be ready for sunset. Xiaoyu, Yanjai, we're leaving. Hoyan turned around and said, bro, wait. I'll go too. Xiao Meng walked on. Am I mistaken? The more time passes, the more people turn into the same creatures. I'm getting more and more annoyed. Shortly after, at a gas station, Xiaoyu threw punches at the zombies. They were so strong that there seemed to be an explosion after each blow. Xiaoyu received 70% loyalty. Xiaoyu's combat skills had grown significantly. However, the recovery time is present. The power is not inferior to the sparkle of the god of war. Hoyan raised his hands up, his eyes shining. Every time I am amazed by Sister Xiaoyu. What kind of kung fu do you practice? Teach me. What's she supposed to teach you? Come on. Grab some gas. Xiao Meng dragged him by the scruff of the neck. Meanwhile, the girls calmly dealt with the zombies. Hoyan, I'll go while you find some tools that you can use. Understood. By the way, brother, this is a very decent person, and this is the first time in the entire apocalypse that I've seen a person who stands up to others if something happens. I'm a businessman, I help people, but they don't pay me. Kindness has nothing to do with it. This is kindness, and this is the apocalypse. You're strong. If you want something, just take it, why worry about anything? I do not think so. It's only you who could have lived with such a rule for so long. Xiao Meng pondered. Think about it, this Hoyan was bluffing yesterday. But when I was in the company, I found that he has a keen observation and performance. Naturally, he was able to survive. Xiao Meng turned to the guy. Hoyan, it's great that you survived. He smiled. I think so too. You didn't commit suicide? Great. What did you say? I didn't hear it. Everything is super. Hoyan is already quite tired of Xiao Meng. Hoyan, there's an overturned car. Go check the gas. I'm listening. Looks like we need to get up first. Hoyan started to climb the car, but there was a zombie under the car, which slowly began to climb out. Hoyan leaned on the railing, but due to the fact that it was already beginning to rot, the railing collapsed and Hoyan almost fell down. Xiao Meng caught his leg. What a troublesome guy. My dear brother, under the zombie car. Watch out. Xiao Meng tried his best not to drop it. Is this the right time to do this? I have already dealt with one, but it looks like someone bigger has arrived. Bigger? Yes, he's really big. There was an abnormal zombie on the roof of the gas station. What kind of mutant is this? The abnormal zombie swung its fist and jumped towards Xiaoyu. She dodged, but he tried to stab her again. The wave of fire from his punch headed towards the gas station. Xiao Meng grabbed Hoyan and they jumped out of the way. The gas station exploded. Are you okay? Yes. But what do we do now? There are too many mutant zombies. Yeah, you can't go on like this. Go away, Hoyan. Don't worry, I'm fine. I'll be distracted if you stay here. Alright, I'm leaving with the fuel, bro, get ready. I'll be waiting for you to come back. Wait for me. Xiao Meng took out his sword and jumped towards the zombie. He, along with 2 girls, tried to deal damage to the mutant zombie. Did he defend himself? The zombie grabbed the girls with his hands and steam started coming from his back. They all jumped away in different directions. These mutant zombies are much stronger than the ones I've encountered before. Things are not going well. For the sake of victory, you need to try hard. You need to cut off at least one arm. Meanwhile, on the yacht, boss, the fuel is ready. Flares were sent out to warn people from the camp. Great, great, we'll get everyone on the boat. And when Brother Xiao Meng has dealt with the mutant zombies, we can hit the road. The man in the cap exhaled cigarette smoke. mutant zombies. They were looking at the smoke on the other side of the bank. Xiaomeng and the girls were running away from the mutant zombie. Brother Xiaomeng is coming. The man in the cap took a drag on his cigarette. The mutant zombie, meanwhile, no longer had one arm. While running, the mutant zombie grabbed a normal zombie and stuck it in the place where it used to have an arm. Steam began to pour out. Do they merge? He teamed up with all the zombies while we were moving forward. At least something good. There are already fewer of them. You can still go back to the boat. Xiaomeng looked towards the boat, but it had already started to float on. In the end, they sailed away. Difficulty of the mission B assignment, escort. Mission accomplished. Reward points plus 40. Xiaomeng's face was sullen. He said, Xiaoyu, Yanjai, Building C. Watch this. The mutant zombie jumped towards Xiaomeng, but then Yanjai threw something at him, and Xiaoyu jumped on top of him and stabbed him in the arm. An eye suddenly appeared on the zombie's arm, and at that moment, Xiaomeng leaped up swinging his sword to chop off the arm. He thought of the people he had already met in this new world. A useless promise. Just a false collaboration. Phony friendliness. Xiaomeng was angry. To be honest, I'm a little tired. Xiaomeng cast a glance to the side and saw a crowd of people running away from the zombies. People shouted and swore they couldn't believe that the ship had left without them. People were begging for Xiaomeng to save them. But Xiaomeng didn't care. His face didn't show any emotion. His answer was no. People kept running away from the zombies. In ancient Greek mythology, the gods punished Sisyphus by forcing him to push a stone to the top of a mountain forever, but the stone always rolled down, and Sisyphus had to start all over again, and so on without end. Xiaomeng thought that he didn't want to become Sisyphus. A dialogue box appears. Protect me. An unfamiliar customer. Waiting for confirmation. Mission difficulty C. Dozens of dialogue boxes appeared around Xiaomeng asking for protection. I'll save them this time, but what about the next one? They will starve to death. They will die of the disease. They will die because of treachery. The stone will never reach the top. The girl ran from the zombies and prayed that at least someone would help her. Xiaomeng jumped towards her and cut down the two zombies behind her. The girl was sitting on the core, clutching his head. Xiaomeng couldn't understand what he had just done. Why the body moved of its own accord. Don't I already know the answer? Isn't this all pointless? Yanjai and Xiaoyu also attacked the approaching zombies. That's how it is. He remembered the face of his friend from before who had betrayed him. Huanzhong, I seem to understand you. When people have power, rights, and money, they gradually begin to consider themselves better than others, no longer sympathize with others, only neglect them. No wonder the body moves on its own. I have almost become like you, but I am absolutely against it. The girl who had just been rescued pointed her finger in the opposite direction. There's a monster behind you. An abnormal monster with eyes in its hand, which they had seemingly just killed, crawled out from under the rubble. Xiaomeng had a smile on her face. He said the girls' names and they jumped towards the mutant zombie. Xiaomeng caught the rope on the zombie mutant's arm and knocked him to the ground. Then he jumped and hit him with the sword. Zombie blocked the blow with his hand. But at the same time, Xiaoyu jumped on top of him and delivered an explosive punch. Decapitation is the most effective weapon. Even if the world has changed, even if a force greater than human strength has emerged, I'd still like to stay human. The people running away from the zombies looked towards the water. Hurry up, look, the ship is coming. Hoyan rode the ship back and waved his hand. Next, we are shown what happened on the ship 10 minutes ago. There seems to be something wrong with the ship. What a bad time. The man in the cap walked over to the open hull. Where is it? Hurry up, speak up, don't let it break down. Yeah, it's not that easy to deal with. Hoyan pointed a gun at him and shot him. Another accomplice came running up behind them. What happened? Hoyan, did you kill the boss? Today, he abandoned people because of the approaching zombies. And tomorrow, for the same reason, he will leave us. Hoyan had a sly smile on his face. He said that Xiaomeng is completely different. And so, we are brought back to the present time again. The boat pulled back to the shore. Xiaomeng said, I didn't think that this guy would trip and fall into the water. You actually managed to kill a man and steal a ship? Great. Hoyan said that the man in the cap was feared by everyone. But at the same time, no one wanted to abandon their comrades, so they changed their minds. Isn't that Lao Wai? Behind them was a guy named Lao Wai. Yeah, that's right. Hoyan, you've grown up. Is there a reward for this? I can give you one canned meat. Wow. Xiaomeng made his way through the crowd of zombies. He was trying to get the other survivors to safety. Quickly, this way. We successfully made it to the old road. Along the way we met a few more survivors. Some of them were infected, so they immediately ran to the camp for help. So I decided to help them. Smoke rises from the other side. It seems that the camp we need is right there. They say that in the camp they help bitten people. Is this true? Okay, there was a glimmer of hope in the end. But if it doesn't work, I can only ease their suffering. Suddenly, another mutant ran out looking like two zombies connected together. The guys were scared. Mutants. This is the third one. It looks like the mutant zombies are getting bigger and bigger. Xiaomeng ordered Huyan and Yanjai to take the people. At the same time, Xiaomeng and Xiaoyu will deal with the mutant zombie. The zombie jumped on them and they started fighting. Huyan and his men approached the camp, but they were shotted so that they would not come closer. The guy at the checkpoint said that no applications were received, so they can't let anyone in. If you want, try breaking in. But in that case, I'll shoot. Huyan fought off the zombies and said that they came with evil intentions, they just want to hide from the zombies. The man at the checkpoint pointed his gun. The leader isn't here, so I can't let you in. Speaking of zombies, what if they also infiltrate the camp? Xiaomeng and Xiaoyu came running over. I'll kill them, please let them in. Kill them. If you kill all the zombies, I'll launch it. But if you try to break in, I'll start shooting back. Xiaomeng thought that this guy was doing the right thing. Okay, I'll kill them all. The system window appears. Collaboration mode, Yanjai. Yanjai, Great Master of Weapons, activate. Yanjai, go ahead. Xiaomeng threw her a rope and she jumps from the zombie, grabbed it in the air. Chicken coop tactics. Yanjai tied up all the zombies. Xiaomeng took out a toy monkey and said, everything. Run away. If you can't, then go to bed. Xiaomeng and Yanjai tied a rope around the zombies and made a fence out of the rope. It turned out to be a small pen for zombies in which they crowded. Xiaoyu, now you. The girl jumped and kicked a roundhouse kick. Decapitation technique. The decisive blow. The fire wave from her strike blew off the heads of all the zombies they caught. But a new crowd of zombies was coming from behind. There are still so many of them. Xiaoyu and Yanjai were both exhausted from running across the river, their dialogue boxes showing low stats. But now is not the time to relax. The zombies continued to attack. Suddenly, two other abnormal zombies jumped on the zombie crowd. The zombies started to fight with other zombies. Why do these zombies attack others? I've never seen anything like it. People in protective suits appeared. Looks like the combat skills are fine. One of the men in a protective suit approached the girl. Are you a wounded man? Bitten? The girl replied that she was fine, just bruised. Even if you get bitten, it's okay, because we've developed a vaccine against the virus. No one else is going to die. Please come with me to the camp. I will provide you with food and medical treatment, as well as a place to rest. Xiaomeng said, are you the leader? Thank you so much for your help. Man in a protective suit, you're too kind. After all, it's me who should be thanking you. Xiaomeng was shocked when he saw his face. Standing in front of him was Guanzhong, the same friend who had betrayed him in the past. Long time no see. Next, we are told about Xiaomeng's school years. In the school bathroom, a group of guys were beating up a guy with glasses. All I want to do is buy cigarettes. How dare you refuse a loan? I'll give it back. Please stop. The brothers didn't beat you up for money. It was all because of your attitude. Said, I won't do it again. I won't dare again. And I don't care if you dare or not. I really want to beat you right now, understand? Suddenly on the pants of one of the offenders, Xiaomeng was standing nearby. He said stop and let the guy go. These were the times when Xiaomeng was 17 years old. He was in his second year of high school. The offender swung his fist towards Xiaomeng. Shut up. Why did you piss on me? Die. Suddenly, Guanzhong came into the bathroom. He and the offender hit his face on it. The group of other abusers got a little nervous at the sight of the guy. He said, it turns out that the mice are divorced here, and I'm wondering where the squeak comes from. Will I join you? Xiaomeng, that's all okay, you can join. Can you fight? I will try. The guy who just hit the door screamed, what are you standing for? Beat them up. His team grabbed a mop and charged at Xiaomeng and Guanzhong. The two of them dealt with all the offenders. They were lying unconscious near the toilets. Now they have the right pose. I agree, very creative. The guy with glasses burst into tears and thanked the two of them for saving him. No problem, you can go now. Xiaomeng turned to Guanzhong and said, thank you, classmate. If I had been alone, I might not have been able to do it. It wasn't a big deal, and it was too noisy, so I couldn't help but step in. And you're strong, most of them have already run away. You too. They both left. The blonde man held out his hand and said that his name was Guanzhong. He's in his second year, third grade. Xiaomeng also extended his hand and introduced himself. He was also in the second year, but in the 16th grade. With smiles on their faces, they washed their hands. There was a large inscription on the school building, which meant the unity of knowledge and action. Thus, Guanzhong and Xiaomeng became friends. They often competed with each other in school and played different games, then they went to the same university. Xiaomeng won the university's developer competition. They spent a lot of time together. They're sitting in a diner and Xiaomeng says, "I'm telling you, dog kennels don't have any prospects. My idea that I will implement in the app is very eco-friendly. There is no other choice, you need to switch to a cattery." Guanzhong Marky asked why didn't he set up a company earlier. Xiaomeng replied that he would like to. If he opened a company, then there would be no money left for his mother's treatment. Will you return to your father's company? Guanzhong, no, he's not very good at managing personnel. I think your app needs to evolve, you need to invest in it. Create a company, you will produce food. Xiaomeng replied to him, will you carry out the operation? Exactly. Well, Blondie, let's start a collaboration. Yes, black-haired, break into the top 500. They clinked glasses together. Xiaomeng and Guanzhong formed a team and then completed the development of the app. After that, they not only got investors, but also formed a large technology company. Xiaomeng was standing on the first floor of the office and was detained by a security guard. He said, Guanzhong, why are you doing this? Aren't we friends anymore? Guanzhong turned to him and said, you are like the sun, you light up the people around you, they gain strength because of you. Besides, you've always been an optimist too, acting like even if you lose everything, you can get it back again. I was very interested in what you can do this time. Before Xiaomeng and his team opened the gate to the camp, we are back. A bunch of people ran Guanzhong. They were all glad that he was back, and the children were standing nearby, crying. Uncle Guan, he said you'd kick me out sooner or later. A boy was standing next to the crying girl. You can't even clean up your own things. Weren't you the one who first told Uncle Guan to kick me out? Guanzhong came up to them and said that he couldn't kick them out because when they grow up, the camp will depend only on them. Shake hands and make up, no more quarrels. Xiaomeng couldn't believe the kind face of his old friend who used to claim that trash should be in the trash can. In the crowd of people, one of the old ladies asked, how can you leave an old lady like me here? Guanzhong replied that he would never refuse anyone. There's no way I'm sending anyone away. A new person has arrived, let's prepare food and water. Xiaomeng looked at this and kept remembering what his friend was like before. Hypocritical. Yanjai, Xiaoyu, were leaving. But suddenly a dialogue box appeared. New task. The main mission. Stay in the camp and wait for the mission to start. Reward, plus 1,000 points. The mission cannot be abandoned, otherwise the owner will die. Xiaomeng was surprised. What happens? Why does a mission suddenly pop up, for failure to fulfill which they are so cruelly punished? Perhaps something will appear here. I don't know if the system helps me or vice versa. Then Hoyan approaches him. Brother, we're going to send the wounded to their medical center, won't you come with us? Okay, since the system gives you no other choice, you can only go with the flow. Xiaomeng turned to Guanzhong. Can I check if everything is okay? Guanzhong replied, of course. Anyone can go, the treatment room is open. Besides, you and I have a pretty close relationship. After a while, in a medical lab, the man tied to the cot was screaming. A bespectacled woman with a clipboard was standing next to him. Dr. Kang, his condition has worsened, it looks like he's entering the 3rd stage. A man with glasses and a beard was standing nearby. He ordered a doubling of the dose. First, give me some tranquilizers. I'm afraid he might get even more violent. Suddenly, behind the doctor, one of the bound patients broke the straps and attacked the doctor. But Xiaomeng reacted in time and saved him. Are you all right? Yes. The bespectacled woman looked surprised. They only noticed, and Xiaomeng already had time to react. Guanzhong turned to the girl, Doctor, if the way to get out of the situation. You just need to wait for the moment when there is an hour left before the transition to the 3rd stage. In this case, faster. The bound patient was given an injection. His face changed, his aggression disappeared, and his skin color became more human. Did the drug really help? Wow, really? Even the skin color has changed. Humanity is saved. Is that why the system said to stay? The bespectacled doctor turned to Xiaomeng and thanked him. If it wasn't for you, I would have already died. It's nothing, but I don't even know who you are. Suddenly, Guanzhong walked up to them. I'm sorry, I didn't have time to introduce you. In fact, after the disaster started, I wandered here and there for a long time, then coincidentally met Professor Kanian and Ziyu. Then I found out that they were experts in viruses and genes. After the doctors decided to stay and work on the drug, we found this center and rallied together, and after a while we set up a camp. Later, I often went around looking for people. However, space on the base may not be enough due to the increase in the number of people. What drugs haven't been delivered yet? Yes, at the moment, the probability of successful action of the drug is 50%. It looks like the system wants me to do something with the drug. Guanzhong paused for a moment then turned to Xiaomeng. Look, I'm very sorry about what happened earlier. What did you say? Because of that time, I am very sorry for what I did to you. I would like to earn your trust again. Xiaomeng replied to him, Guanzhong, you know I won't forgive you. Let's not continue. Xiaomeng turned around and walked away. Wait, I'm not kidding. Just then, a little girl suddenly ran out from behind and spoke to Guanzhong. When can I see my mother? Is she feeling better now? She's fine. She is also very bored, but we need to wait a little. I believe you will soon see. Be patient and let your mother get better. Good. Go play with the other kids. Good. Uncle, bye. Xiaoming silently watched this and then said, what about her mother? Maybe she got sick and you sent her away. Guanzhong replied that it was impossible. This place has become like this thanks to the people gathered here. That is, everyone does what works best. When they found out that I was working on a drug study, some of them started helping me catch zombies, while others started testing the drug. Her mother is one of the volunteers, but the volunteers have to be isolated from the rest. After all, this is quite a dangerous exercise, which is why I want to finish the test as soon as possible. After all, only after graduation with their families. In fact, when I started following, I understood how you felt back then. I also realized how vile I'd been. My brothers have made it clear to me that only by supporting each other can we survive. I used to think that my money would solve all the problems, just like my father. And after the apocalypse, I realized that all this was pointless and realized what a scoundrel I was. I'm not asking for your forgiveness, I just want to apologize for what I did. Why do you need me? Just say it. Well, I didn't even think about it. Xiaoming said, stop pretending, it's too much talking about the drug in the camp, how can you so easily spill your secrets to outsiders? Tell me what you want. In that case, I'll tell you. Professor Kanian used to work at the Eastern Center for Disease Control. Some of his research materials are located there. But there are too many zombies, we tried to get there many times, but without success. Xiaoming, I hope you can help me pick them up. Please. Guanzhong made a deep bow. We will survive if we have the drug. I want this to stop. Xiaoming said that it all looks too fake. I can even get down on my knees. Not worth it. Please help me. If we unite, we will definitely cope with any difficulties. Xiaoming felt that he was right about one thing at least. Sooner or later, the world will end. Despite the fact that nothing will be the same, you still need to create a drug, because thanks to it, the remaining survivors will be able to continue their lives without fear. I think if the system stopped me, it must have something to do with the mission. Also, I'm interested to see how he tames zombies. Okay, I'll help you. Super. Great. Don't come near me. I'll just help you get some information. I'm not going to put up with you. It's all because of the drug, you know. I get it. Thank you, Xiaoming. Get ready. Good. A dialogue box appeared. New mission. Get access to your content. Final reward, plus 1,000 points. Mutant zombies continue to fight with other zombies. Xiaoming noticed that these mutant zombies were very similar to dogs. These two are the starting point of our journey. According to Dr. Kan, these zombies are endowed with intelligence and can perform certain commands. In the course of training, they had electric shock chips embedded in them, so as soon as they disobey and try to attack people, they will immediately die. They are very useful. Speaking of which, the mission is very dangerous. Why don't these girls stay in the camp and take a break? Xiaoming said no, they are my employees. Their fighting skills are much higher than your zombies. Running behind Xiaoming and Guanzhong was Hoyan, who added, right. Sister Yanjai is a master of her craft, and Xiaoyu is a martial arts expert. Hoyan, why did you follow us? Xiaoming asked him to go because he is very smart and therefore needs to help. He's a good partner. They reached the disease control center. The necessary documents are located on the 4th floor. I do not know how many zombies we will encounter when we enter, so it is best to avoid battles. Didn't Dr. Kan work here? He couldn't give me a map of the route. He did, but it's too spacious and it takes time to get your bearings. The route is located next to the stairs, and it is not easy to get there. They watched from afar as the crowd of zombies blocked their way. Ah, I see we're in the West Hall now. In that case, I know where we need to go. Hey, where did you get the binoculars? The three boys looked at the map of the building. We can take advantage of the crossing that is near us and go around and all underground it. After going up, we will go to the 3rd floor, pass through the dining room that connects the laboratories and the hospital, and then we can get to the 4th floor. Let's go. After entering the old city, Xiaoming and the others discovered that it seems like the zombies here are different. Also, the skin color of zombies is quite strange, and there are even more mutant zombies here. Dr. Kan once said that zombies have evolved compared to ordinary dead people. Therefore, the longer the apocalypse lasts, the more zombies appear. Usually zombies are divided into simple and mutants, but there are two types of mutants. The first type is enhanced zombies. They constantly increase their strength by self-evolution. They retain their original appearance, but picky about food, eat only living creatures. The second type is a merged zombie. They increase their strength by merging with other creatures, look quite strange, but they are not picky about food. When they are very hungry, they devour their own kind. Damasheni and camp zombies also belong to the type of fusion. According to the doctor, they were merged with dogs. The doctor said that in terms of strength, to deal with a normal enhanced zombie, you need at least 5 people. However, the power of the fused is so unstable that sometimes one person can deal with it, and sometimes even 10 will not be enough. But even under these conditions, I think it's much more difficult with the reinforced ones. They're smart. But there is one but, no matter what kind of zombie, everyone has the same weaknesses, ultraviolet rays in the brain. Well, we're done explaining, we're on the 3rd floor. Guanzhong opened the door and there was a huge crowd of zombies standing in front of them. Keep quiet and see if you can move noiselessly. I wonder why there are so many of them here. I won't be able to protect others if I have to face so many at the same time. Xiaomeng and the others quietly walked past the zombies so as not to attract their attention. One of the guys with a submachine gun said, "I knew I shouldn't have gone. After returning, I will transfer to the rear group. But if I come back alive, I'll start spending more time with Xiaomei and the others. Maybe she'll fall in love with me, and then we'll, hee." While the guy was dreaming, he accidentally hit the machine gun on the wall. The zombies reacted instantly. "Let's run." Running from behind, Hoyan offered to take the zombie to the 3rd floor lobby, in the opposite direction where the fire escapes, which lead up to the 4th floor. Great solution. Xiaomeng threw an alarm clock at Yanjai. "Use it to lure all the zombies into the lobby while we go up to the 4th floor." The girl caught the alarm clock. She likes this kind of work. "See you later." The zombies ran Yanjai. They went up to the 4th floor. "It's here, let's go." They ran into the room and Hoyang slammed the door with his back against it. "Brother Xiaomeng, they won't be able to be delayed for long." "Guanzhong, what's next?" "Go with Hoyan to the document room at the end of the corridor." "Do you trust us?" "Of course." "Okay, Hoyan, let's go." So determined. "Xiaoyu, you guard the door." Xiaomeng and Hoyan were inspecting the archive. Xiaomeng asked, "Hoyan, how is your leg?" "I think all is well." "What do you think about Guanzhong?" What an unexpected question. "Well, I think it's pretty reliable. It's easy for me to run a camp like this. But by the way, it has changed a bit. Became similar to Xiaomeng. Don't compare us." "Okay, forget it. Let's hurry up. We don't know how long this will last." Hoyan took out a book that had the numbers 13, 7, and 4 on it. He was overjoyed. "Hey, brother Xiaomeng, I found the book." "Great, so let's move on." They went back to the rest of the team. "Brother Guan, we're back. We have the documents." Guanzhong was delighted. "Great, I didn't expect you to do it so quickly. We have all the necessary information." "You really did find it. I think it would be great to see some books." Guanzhong opened one of them to make sure. "Have you checked the content? There can be no mistake. The numbers are correct. I think everything fits." "All right, in that case, we're leaving." Suddenly, they felt something wrong under their feet. Walls? No, it's underground. There was an explosion and a semi-collapse. Everyone started to fall. Xiaomeng thought about it. Perhaps it was Yanjai who did her best. Did she run into someone big? Xiaomeng landed on his feet right behind Yanjai. "It looks like someone strong is here." Opposite them was a huge mountain of combined zombies. "What is it?" There was a pipe stuck inside one of the zombies that was at the very top of this mountain. He tried to pull her out of him. "Bad business, looks scary. We need to figure it out as quickly as possible." Yanjai, aim for the head. Yanjai jumped up and threw a huge rock at the zombie mountain. But the stone didn't make it, because the zombie pulled out a sharp pipe and thus completed the fusion. It's too late. A zombie with 2 tails, 6 arms, and 3 heads appeared in front of them. Guanzhong ordered test subjects number 1 and number 2 to attack the mutant zombie that had just appeared. They jumped on the enemy, but they were immediately grabbed by a mutant zombie and tore completely. Xiaomeng gave an order to the girls. "Yanjai, Xiaoyu, stop him. You can't let it continue to merge with others. I have to keep everyone safe. Differences from the rest, I've already met something like this." Xiaoyu jumped towards the mutant zombie. But the zombie didn't care. He shouted and jumped towards Xiaomeng. The main character flew back a lot. "How fast?" "But fortunately, I managed to get back in time." "It's too fast." Before the main character came to his senses, the mutant zombie was already attacking him again. But suddenly, a zombie from the side attacked Yanjai and threw him aside. He is very strong, so you need to focus on the upcoming battle properly. However, there is one annoying personality. He said to Guanzhong, "Go away, I don't want Hoyan to die here. Get ahead of yourself." "How can you do that?" Xiaomeng took out his sword. "Hurry up, do not delay the preparation of the drug. I'm not going to die here." Guanzhong along with the others agreed and decided to leave. "I don't want you to see me during the battle." Meanwhile, Yanjai and Xiaoyu continued to fight the abnormal zombie. Xiaoyu threw a punch, and the blast wave tore off part of the zombie's body. But it quickly began to regenerate and regrew itself back the missing parts. Instant response. It should be possible to defeat him with one hard hit. Xiaomeng looked at Yanjai. Her arm is injured, she can't help anymore, and Xiaoyu won't be able to resist. "Wait a minute, there is a method that will help increase the attack range of Xiaoyu's spikes. You need to try it." Hey Zioyu, activate your skills. You need to activate the God of War and Artillery. 2 dialogue boxes with abilities appeared. A red aura appeared around the girl. Zioyu, damn it. Too much stress on the body. Zioyu, don't overexert yourself. Get out of there. The mutant zombie ran at Zioyu. It struck him, shattering most of his body. But the zombie heads were still there. It turns out that the power is still not enough. Zioyu took a pose. Perhaps it will activate the skill again. Isn't it necessary to take a break between thorn attacks and the God of War state? Zioyu jumped on the mutant zombie and gave it a few punches. This time, the zombie was defeated. There were cracks everywhere in the building. Zioyu made too much noise, so the floor might collapse. Xiaomeng ordered the girls to leave here, then cast a glance at Zioyu. She was lying on the floor unconscious. After putting all her strength into this punch, it weakened a lot. It must have been an incredible load. Xiaomeng said, Yanjai, you are injured. Protect yourself, not others. Yanjai refuses to leave his companions behind. This is an order, go ahead. Trust me. Yanjai obeyed the order, turned around and ran. Xiaomeng said, Joint mode, Yanjai. After testing everything earlier, I realized that I can go to joint mode as long as the employee is within a kilometer. A dialog box appears. Collaboration mode is enabled. Xiaomeng ran towards Zioyu at full speed. The floor around her broke and she started to fall down. Xiaomeng managed to grab her hand and he caught on the pipe. Hey, wake up. Calm down, I've got you. Xiaomeng's face was dripping with blood. There's no way I'm letting you go. However, now is not the time to chat. We need to get out of here. Xiaomeng let go of the pipe and grabbed Zioyu with both hands. He kicked off a falling piece of floor and ran further down the stairs, then down the hallway. Just a little more. The exit was already visible in front of him, bathed in light. Suddenly he gets up from the bed, all bandaged up. It hurts. Hoyan was sitting next to him. Oh, brother Xiaomeng, are you awake? The main character couldn't figure out how he ended up here. Hoyan explained that Xiaomeng arrived here 2 days ago. After brother Guan put me in the car, he came back to look for you, and then I happened to see you and your sister running out of the building. Xiaomeng asked what about the 2 girls who were with him. They're fine, they're standing outside now. The girls were playing with their children at that moment. Xiaomeng asked if the doctor had examined them. He thought that if they were watching, they would immediately know that they were zombies. Don't worry, the doctor is busy or whatever, I didn't see any reason to show their doctor. Hoyan got up from his chair. Since you're so happy, I think it's fine. In that case, I'll go help out at the camp, and you, rest. Thank you, Hoyan. You're welcome. I'm off. The door slammed shut and Xiaomeng was left alone in the room. No one knows about the identities of Yanjai and Zioyu, and keeping it within reason is great. Now, let's continue. Xiaomeng opened the system menu. Let's see. Mission completed. 59 points received. We got virus data, drug data. Zioyu's loyalty increased to 99%. Lottery available. Wow, 99%. Do you want to launch a lottery? Xiaomeng stood on the street, a fragment of memories in his hands. I actually managed to get this. I think that I get a fragment of memories when the trust of an employee of the company reaches a certain level. Or the system gives you a taste of what it feels like when the employee's loyalty level reaches its maximum. In any case, you need to start looking. Xiaomeng took advantage of the memory shard. Further on, someone's words could be heard, no need to download and install, just as slow as local Wi-Fi. Namely, here is a world built using R, VR, and 3D technologies. This is the prototype of the metaverse. This is not just an app. It can be applied to all games as well as to everything else. We will build a new trail. Whose voice is it? Xiaomeng was standing in front of the door. He opened the door and heard the following. This project, despite the risks, has great prospects, so our company used all the resources for development that it could. But I will say right away, so that everyone understands that due to the fact that resources were used to the maximum, each participant will receive only the minimum payment. However, you will also be rewarded according to the company's revenue. Each participant will receive more money with the launch of the project. Xiaomeng was shocked. After all, at the product presentation, he saw himself. I hope his twin from the memories continued to say, everyone will believe in me. We will strive to win. The crowd of people cheered, everyone supported him. I believe in you, bro Xiaomeng. After all, you created a project that earned a market value of tens of billions. I believe it too. With your abilities, you will definitely finish this project successfully. I think the same. We'll follow you, brother. Standing on the stage, Xiaomeng burst into tears. You guys are better. I won't let you down. Thank you. Then, we have a tough battle ahead of us. Xiaomeng couldn't understand why he launched a fragment of Zioyu's memories, but sees himself in them. He looked to the side and saw Zioyu standing there listening to the presentation. but why don't I remember it? Next, we were shown another piece of memories where employees are in the office. Xiaoming recalled this moment. It was when they were working on the project after. Was Xiaoyu on the team? She was a new girl doing administrative work. It started up, so I ran everywhere all day. I don't think we really crossed paths with her. On her back, she looked exhausted. When the project started, everything was going well until we realized that all the equipment that our business partners provided us with was completely unsuitable. Without it, we are at a dead end. Solving this problem was the only necessity, but the other directors suddenly decided to close the project. So I decided to go to them immediately with Guanzhong. Next, we are shown memories of two guys walking down the corridor and talking. Just convince them to give us more time. Tell them we don't even need to increase the budget. As soon as they respond, we will be able to sign a contract with a new equipment supplier and report on their progress next month. They went into the meeting room. A man smoking a cigarette turned to Xiaomeng. What are you doing here? If you're here to convince us to continue the project, then forget it. The board of directors has already agreed to close it. I'm sorry, but please give me a few minutes and listen to our explanations. Listen up. We have successfully absorbed 70% of the world's cloud services for gaming. I think if we start making a metaverse right now, we will be fine for the next 10 years. A world created entirely on the digital web, using R, VR and the internet to create a whole new world. The first step is done. As long as we move forward, the grain we planted will grow in the future. Metaselenea is the foundation of our company, a long-term development. All we need to do now is solve the problem with the equipment supplier, and the future will belong to us, said Guanzhong. Do you agree with him? Guanzhong looked at Xiaomeng and replied, no, I am in favor of closing the project and reducing our losses. Xiaomeng was shocked. What are you saying? Guanzhong made a deep bow and apologized. I trusted Xiaomeng too much. I didn't think that he would lead the company to such a dump. I apologize for all the losses he caused. In that case, I'm sure you know what to do. When the project failed, everyone had to leave. Everyone was angry. This Xiaomeng left us without a job. I already submitted a risk assessment report a long time ago. Risk assessment? He spent almost 80% of the investment on this crappy equipment. No, it's all a lie. He took us from the very beginning. Xiaomeng wanted to change everyone's mind, tell them that he was a liar to me, but no one cared. People were angry because they had been working for free all this time. Guanzhong suddenly ran into the room and shouted, guys, I tried to convince the directors again. I didn't manage to save Xiaomeng's workplace, but you can all rest easy. As long as you leave, you can work in the same positions. Everyone was happy. Of course I'm staying. That's cool. Mr. Guan didn't leave us. Isn't he more trustworthy than this Xiaomeng? Seeing all this, Xiaoyu threw down her badge and left. Xiaomeng was shaking. Is this really all because of me? Was it me who insisted on running the project at all costs? The company had a small flow of money, all because I was constantly reinvesting in the project. Was the project doomed anyway? Is this why Guan abandoned me and called me such bad words? Was it all for self-defense? A dialogue box appears. New mission. Xiaoyu. Promotion quest. Part 1. Go to the company and apologize to your former employees. Xiaomeng began to cry. It's all my fault. System notification. Please proceed to the mission location as quickly as possible. During the mission, the host will be in a special state, worker suffering. Xiaomeng clutched his head. This feeling, negative emotions, my body, my brain, my heart, everything is affected. It seems that you should not delay any longer. You need to quickly get ready and move out. Yanjai, stay and wait for me. Be careful. I still have a feeling that something is wrong with this place. I'll just hope it's just paranoia. Xiaomeng and Xiaoyu came to the office building. I can't believe I went 10 hours in this state. They went inside. It's clear, it's the name again. I don't even know how to react. The system wants to hear their apologies, but there are no souls here. What should I do now? I'm not sure if an apology counts, but they'll be buried with all their possessions. After entering the office in this state, I can't even use my powers. Among all the things on the tables, only this belongs to employees I knew. There was a badge, a hair clip, a glass, and a cupcake on the table. But didn't everyone just stay here as my memories showed me? It seems the only option is to use Guanzhong's computer and find out about those who were still working on the project. They came to the door of his office. Xiaoyu kicked the door open with her foot. Xiaomeng felt very bad because of the curse. The body is heavier, there's definitely something here. Xiaomeng went to the desktop and started up the computer. This computer is protected, please log in with a password. I handled the entire company's computer system. Guan really thought that a couple of layers of encoding would save. He didn't rate me very much. Xiaomeng started tapping something on the keyboard. And here's the staff list. We need to find a working printer to print out their photos for burial. It's weird, why did so many of the company's employees quit after I left? What is it? Why did Guan keep a folder with his parents' data on his work computer? He hated his father. Also, these files are encrypted. Xiaomeng quickly started typing something on the keyboard. Decryption is complete. Uploading files. Market assessment. Laid off staff. Risk assessment. Why are they different from what I remember? What is it? Noah, isn't this the problematic vendor? And these videos, supplier invoices, and tax documents. Wait, the representative of Noah's company was Luo Royo. She was Guan's secretary. I have never received this risk assessment report that says the risks were high. The person responsible for the invitation to the tender and the one who won the tender worked for Guan. Now that I think about it, because of problems with the supplier, the directors started laying off employees like me. Even though even interns like Xiaoyu got a piece, it was definitely not a small percentage. Was this project a trap for me from the very beginning? So what Xiaoyu and I saw, all these documents were lies. Is that why the system brought me here? To uncover the truth. Sounds were heard. Is something going on outside? Xiaoyu, my tablet is still not drained. Give it to me when the video is unpacked. This is the last decoded file. I have to see him. I have a bad feeling about this. Xiaomeng walked to the door and opened it. Inside the room was a huge lump of zombies, hung with badges. Is this an employee pass? This means that this monster. But how did it happen? Xiaomeng clutched his head and screamed. His head was full of the regrets of his former colleagues. It was the superior's fault. Why then do ordinary employees get fired? Why am I being reassigned because of Xiaomeng? It's all gone, it's all gone. I lost my investment and even my job. When can I save up for a house? If only I hadn't joined this project. Then I wouldn't have been fired. I don't want to die. All I wanted was to earn money for the treatment of my illness. Why was I dragged into this? I'm just a secretary. Xiaomeng held his head. I was Guan's target, but you were all dragged in along with me. It wasn't your fault. I'm sorry. Tears began to trickle down his face. Suddenly, a video started playing on the tablet. Xiaomeng turned towards Xiaoyu, who was holding a tablet in her hands. The guy in the video said, "Hello, does this thing still work?" "Yes, everything works. Mr. Xiaomeng, my name is Luke Schuiner. Everything will be fine." "Okay, I'll go first." "Mr. Xiaomeng, the team members want to talk to you, but we couldn't find you, so the only thing we thought of was to ask Mr. Guan. The only thing I would like to say, Mr. Xiaomeng, is don't be so reckless." The video also showed a guy wearing glasses. "I didn't think that you would be fired so soon. Now I can't even find you here to kick you. Luckily, Mr. Guan helped clean up after you. You should say thank you." Also on the video appeared a girl with a hairpin on her head. She said, "I saw you asking for a loan from the bank. Even if you made a mistake, we all know that you worked hard on the project. My aunt works in a bank and she can help you. But that doesn't mean we've forgiven you. You have to promise us that you will get back on your feet, think through your mistakes, and start all over again. Do you understand? Make sure that you return successfully and return the favor." Why didn't you guys say you were recording Xiaomeng videos? I also want to say something. Don't sneak up on me like that, you scared me. I'll say it again. We haven't forgiven you. Xiaomeng wiped the tears from his eyes. Yes, I know you haven't forgiven me. Until I'm forgiven, I can't die here. Am I right, Xiaoyu? Also, I have to settle the score with Guanzhong. A scarlet energy appeared around Xiaomeng. Xiaoyu, rest up, I'll handle it myself. It'll all be over soon. The system menu appears. Xiaoyu employee. Collaboration mode. The rampaging god of war. The trial run is activated. Xiaomeng entered the room where the mutant zombie was located. Time will calm you down. The zombie and Xiaomeng jumped on top of each other. Xiaomeng dealt him a strong blow, cutting him into 2 large pieces. Xiaomeng recalled the names of his employees. A badge with the name Li Kesheng hung in the air. The project's initial framework was created by the 2 of us. You were always working extra hours with me at the time. I still owe you a meal. Xiaomeng threw another punch. Zhang Wend, whenever we went catching bugs, you always looked as if you were about to cry. Did you get the hair transplant you wanted? Zhao Zhang, every time you had a new idea, you worked without rest, as if you thought you were an immortal. Did you take your stomach pills at any time after I left? Zhu Liguo, you always bought me coffee. Xiaomeng threw a few more punches. Wu Likai, we ate the most disgusting takeout meal together. Tang Xianyang, we always took the same bus. We worked hard together back then, and all we needed to do was take the final step to succeed. We were just 1 step away. But now, Xiaomeng threw the last few punches and chopped the opponent into small pieces. I'm sorry everyone. The badges of his employees fell from above. Thank you all. Just because of your forgiveness, I'm ready to burn all my bridges, get back on my feet, and come back. Xiaoyu was watching Xiaomeng from the side through a crack in the door. She was worried, so she decided to take a peek. I am well. Xiaomeng smiled. Let's go print out photos of project employees. A couple of hours later, in the yard of the company there were many graves with badges of employees. Please sleep well, my old colleagues. I will never forget any of you, and I sincerely hope that at least one of you survived. Suddenly, a system notification appeared. The first part of the mission is completed. The corresponding items will be added to the system's museum. All the ID cards that were linked to the graves of employees suddenly lit up and a lot of system notifications appeared about their addition to the museum. Xiaomeng looked on in amazement. I remember that things that are extremely important to their owners are preserved as exhibits in a museum. This suggests that being a part of my company meant a lot to you. Xiaoyu, from the moment the project failed, thoughts like, was I a good boss or not? Today, I think I finally found the answer, and now I know what to do next. First of all, with everyone's hope and faith, I want to put an end to everything that happened to Guanzhong in the past. Main mission updated. Part 2. Put an end to everything related to Guanzhong. Task rating, S final reward for a mission with a series of challenges, plus 1,000 points. Earlier, 2 hours after Xiaoming set off. Thanks to the materials you provided, the vaccine has finally improved to a super vaccine. Thank you for your hard work, Professor. Our research on subjects number 1 and 2 played a major role in this project, and it's not worth praising. You also put in a lot of effort, Mr. Guanzhong. After so many investments, it's time to find out the final result. Well, let's hurry to the lab. Just one step left, yes, just one step. Hoyan was watching the two men from behind. He recalled Xiaomeng's words, I'll be gone for a while. The old sore has made itself felt, so I'll go out and look for a cure. I have a feeling that Guan is doing something wrong, so you should be on your guard while I'm away. If anything happens, go to Yanjai. Hoyan thought it was all too suspicious. Where did the two of them go? And what is this super vaccine? Need to find out, and get there before they get back.